Well, we are back, huh? We're back at the 9 Club, everybody, today. Oh, my God, bro. Today we got a special guest, Chad Muska.
Yes.
Wow.
We did it. We did it.
Finally did it.
It's official, man. It's been a minute, but I made it.
Thank you so much, bro.
I just been waiting for the viewership to go up. You know.
Oh, yes, a lot of people have.
Had to
Trust
make
me.
it more popular before I come on.
No, man. Episode 159 or something. I don't know what we're on, bro, but we're up there.
Okay. Okay.
We're up there, dude.
59,
Yeah.
How's everything, dude?
You know, everything is great.
Yeah?
Fantastic.
Perfect,
man.
dude.
Yeah. You know, it's life is crazy. You always have these roller coaster rides, ups and downs, and all that fun stuff that goes along with it.
Strikes and gutters.
I'm definitely on a super positive good point in my life
Dope.
right now.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
You still calling OnStar and everything for handrails and
Of course. No.
no more
OnStar.
No more?
You know, no. I'm rolling the Muskabeatz has been traded in for the Priuska.
the pre.
So I'm rolling hard, you know, trying to save this world and save some money at the same time.
That's right.
There we go.
You know, yeah. So it's cool, you know.
Yeah.
That's all been part of my ride too. That the OnStar and the Escalades and the all that skateboarding hype and all that part of my history it's so fun and so many people remember me from that time period. But I've definitely grown into like a completely new person and continue to grow.
Well, of course. I mean, what was that, like 20 something years ago?
Yeah,
You know what I
yeah.
mean? So, but I mean, I can say for me, Roger, Kelly, I'm speaking for them too, but like the biggest fans,
Oh, yeah.
you know, and that type of stuff is iconic, you know.
Yeah.
Just the other day, I mean, something came up and I was like, handrails, oh shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it's
Yeah,
just a
yeah.
part, it's embedded in us,
it totally is.
you know.
Yeah.
It's like the
Sparking your memories.
iconic.
And I appreciate it, and I'm so grateful for that because my life has been dedicated to skateboarding and dedicated to everything that goes along with it, the culture, the lifestyle, the community that we have.
Mm-hmm.
I have nothing else in this world but that.
Right.
You know, that was my backbone. That gave me everything. And I've done things outside of it, but if it weren't for that, nothing else would have ever happened for me. And so I'm forever grateful to anytime someone says, you know, handrails, chillin', Muska, like, you know, whatever it is, I gladly accept it.
You
know?
embrace it.
Yeah,
for sure.
100%. But I guess also on the flip side of it, like you also, I don't want my past to be an anchor holding me back in any way.
Mm-hmm.
I want to be able to continue to grow and learn and become whatever it is I want to become in this life, you know, because I truly believe that's why we're put here. It's in order to express and to go for anything in life, whatever it is,
right.
and have no fear for that expression or that career choice. I mean, all these different things are put here for us to experience. And so that's why I've continuously tried all these things throughout my life, whether it was, you know, skateboarding, into music, into art, shoe design, clothing design, photography, video editing, graphic design, all those things. I've dove as far deep as I can into all of those things because I love to do them and I love to express and create. And then on a business side of things, all those are an aspect of business. You have to know how to shoot product to put it in a catalog. You have to make the catalog. You have to build a website. You have to put the product on a website. You have to build a team. You have to know how to market the team. You have to design products based around their personality. There's all these things that go into skateboarding, and I wanted to understand and know every single piece of that puzzle. So even if I'm not doing every single job associated with that process, at least I understood it, and I could conversate with the person that is doing that objective and know how to come together and create the best possible outcome, whatever that job is at that time.
No, totally. I mean, even a graphic designer understanding that process benefits both of you
totally.
because now you're not just barking orders at him, you're working with him because you understand that process.
Yep.
You know?
I luckily came across computers at an early age, which was pretty much like ridiculous for somebody like me because I was like, computers suck. Like, what are you doing? Like, you know, like, go skate. Like, you're gonna sit around and like sit in front of a computer for hours, you know. And then I picked one up, and we were doing a demo in Long Beach with my homie Long Beach Larry.
Okay.
And he was like, we got this demo at this spot, and he was like, we need to make a flyer. And I was like, I got the computer. And, you know, I'm gonna like try to learn how to do it. And I got Illustrator, and I laid something out, and I made a flyer for our demo, and I printed it out with this like little portable printer I got, and I was like, oh my God, like, this is so cool. Like, I made this, you know, and I was more hyped on the flyer than the demo even at that time, you know, and that's the first memory I have of making something on the computer. And then it was just, I was hooked from then on out, and it was like, oh, we're doing this board graphic, or we have a t-shirt design, or whatever it was. And long before that, I'd already been interested in that idea, you know. I guess when I was a little kid, I didn't remember this till kind of recently. My mom showed me some stuff where it was like, I had made up a team when I first started skateboarding, and it was Disaster Skateboards, and I like picked all the kids in the neighborhood, and they all came, and like they had to line up, and I was like, okay, you made the cut and you did it.
No, you didn't.
I put like a couple of the kids on the team.
You
and
did
like
a schoolyard pick.
Yeah.
The skate team.
And so I had like the names listed and the logo drawn out and stuff, and it was like, our little crew was Disaster Skateboards, and I had an empty pool in my backyard. We used to skate, and that was in Phoenix, Arizona.
Okay.
Wow. Yeah.
Did you pay them?
Yeah. Snickers.
Snickers, right.
No, I could go on and on because my life is crazy, man, and like there's like 50 different lives in one life and a million stories in between, and like it's hard for me because I'll think of another thing and I'll jump to this time period and I'll go to this time period, and like it's so like crazy that I only remember bits and flashes of times of my life because so much has happened. It's like there's no way that this hard drive could retain that much information. It's a little fragmented
Some
too
of it
at
got
this
fragmented over the years.
It's a fragmented full drive right now, but it's still operating at this point. So,
well, we're gonna pull some files out of there.
Yeah.
You know, we're gonna pull some files out, dude.
Data recovery.
Yeah, data recovery.
Yeah.
But you were talking about Arizona.
Yes.
I mean, you're not originally from Arizona, though. You moved there young, right?
Yeah. Once again, like if we're starting from the beginning, it's like such a long, crazy story, you know. But I'll give the quick version for now.
Sure.
You know, born in Ohio. Only lived there for like, and once again, the fragmented version. This is my memory of it. My mom might tell me something different. I can't remember everything, and it's been like, you know, a minute, but I know I was born in Ohio.
Okay. That photograph has popped up in your mind.
Lorain, Ohio, which is outside of Cleveland.
Okay.
So that's the beginning of my life in Ohio.
Right.
And shortly after that, my mom and dad separated. My dad had moved to Arizona. My mom went to the East Coast.
Oh,
and
wow.
My sister and my mom went to the East Coast, and we were around Delaware, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, and so in a lot of different places in a small amount of time. So that part of my life is like only like 2 or 3 flashes of that entire time.
Right.
But going to that, my first encounter with skateboarding was there in a place which I believe was Levittown, Pennsylvania, and I'm pretty sure it was we lived in one place called Village of Pembroke, which I remembered, and Chris Cole surprisingly knew it and knew where it's still there, and I was like, oh, whoa, that's crazy. Like, he's like, I lived by there, I know the Village of Pembroke, I know what you're talking about.
Wow.
So that was one place we lived, and I don't remember if this is the same place or not, but the next. The first memory of skateboarding I have was there was a freeway right by our apartment place, and there was also an abandoned army base there, And so there was this like army base with these like forts and like all cool stuff, graffiti in there, and kids would go and just get crazy in there, you know? And then there was a freeway here. On the other side of the freeway, well, rewind for a second. First thing my mom told me was, don't go by the freeway. So first thing I did was go to the freeway, you know? And I was looking across the freeway, and I would see like BMX bikes and heads moving around. I was like, what is that? What is that? And there was an abandoned skate park from like the 70s or something. And I didn't have a BMX bike. I didn't have a skateboard. I had nothing at the time, but I ran across the freeway and I would just go there and stare at these kids, you know? And I was like, oh my God, this is so cool, you know? Like look at these guys. It was like rad style, you know, rad era, like the movie Rad, you know, and they were just like bunny hopping, and it was like I was watching E.T. or something, you know. Like I was like, this is so cool, you know. Like I just remember like just tripping on it, and then
how old were you at this point?
See, that's where it's a little shady.
That's fragmented.
Yeah.
5,
6.
Okay,
you know,
a little young to
7,
be crossing the freeway.
Very young.
Seriously.
Out of nowhere, my dad had moved to Arizona. He sent me a skateboard. And it was like, but it was like a Veriflex, like generic, like swap meet board, you know. And I got this thing, and I was like, whoa! I just remember thinking it was really cool. And then even then, I got all the kids in the neighborhood. We went to this like a semi truck, like the back of the semi truck. I think I'd only rode it around a few times, and there was a pile of carpet, and I had this vivid memory of this. And I climbed the top of the semi truck and just try to roll off into the pile of carpet, you know. And all the kids were like, yeah, like cheering, you know.
You were
like,
rolling off the back of the semis on your Veriflex.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
Yeah, and it, you know. I don't really dive too deep into it, but you know, it was some crazy times in my life back then. You know, my family wasn't really stable, you know, and my mom was bouncing around a lot, and a lot of things were happening, and things got pretty out of control there. Where we were living with me, my sister, my mom, and my dad eventually, he was a biker. He rode Harleys. He was down with like, you know, all the different like motorcycle clubs and stuff like that. And so I think he caught wind that it was getting a little sketchy out there. And he sent some bikers to come get me, my mom, and my sister.
Oh, wow.
They picked us up, shipped us to Arizona with nothing. We
wow.
left every single possession that we had except the clothes on our back. And
the Veriflex?
The Veriflex was gone.
Oh shit! You didn't take the Veriflex.
No Veriflex. You know, and
wait, so you rode bikes across? Like
no, they just got us because she had a boyfriend, and there was kind of like something was crazy going on with that scenario, and basically they got us and stayed the night at their house, and then took us to the airport the next day, and then shipped us out to be with my dad in Arizona.
Okay,
and then. That's when I got more into BMX bikes than at that time. And so we got together and we were in this one house for a while. And I don't know, am I supposed to talk about this kind of stuff even? I mean, I don't know like where we go with this on this,
man.
this
Hey,
show.
we're just having
this is your life.
Yeah, it's interesting, I think.
Cool.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's basically what happened. And we moved to Arizona, and it was like a whole new world for me. You know, like it was like I thought like cowboys were cool and stuff. Like I think I got a cowboy hat.
Okay.
And like,
you got a vest and boots.
I think I had a little button. No, I definitely had some boots and a button up.
Turquoise,
and I was like, the what do they call those things?
Spurs.
Yeah, no spurs.
The necktie thing.
Oh yeah, the little
the
fucking right.
It makes sense in Arizona though.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
So you were a little cowboy.
Yeah, kind of for a second. No, it was a quick one, you know. Okay. But I was really hyped on tumbleweeds. I was like, I remember like tumbleweeds would come and like they'd blow by, and I'd be like, whoa! Like I remember I thought they were alive or something, you know. They
Where
were,
did
like,
this thing come from?
So I remember that's one memory. I remember being like tumbleweeds being really cool, and then. And then I started BMXing, and I got like super into BMX bikes. I was so hyped on BMXs, and that was like my shit. I was just like, oh, BMX is like so cool, and I'd build like sketchy launch ramps out front and stuff. And I had this memory, and I'm not too positive if it was really him or not, but this other guy that lived up the street was like, my cousin's a pro skater, and I still have to confirm this with him one day, and I think I may have mentioned it to him one day, but so we're all launching this sketchy just plywood laid on cinder blocks or
rocks,
something, you know, and it's in the sidewalk, and we're all taking turns launching it, and out of nowhere comes this skater rolling up and clacks an ollie off it and rolls, you know, we're like, yeah, that's so cool, and apparently it was Mark Gonzalez, and
what?
And they said it was his cousin, you know, that's I have to confirm, but
Right,
yeah.
right.
So I hope it was. You know,
Yeah, I hope
but
it was too.
Whoever it was, it clacked an ollie off a launch ramp in like the 80s. You know what I mean?
Sure.
So
That was the first thing you saw.
It had to be Gonz.
It had to. We'll say, we'll say it's Gonz.
I'm gonna say
for
it was.
Sure.
Yeah.
That was the first person you saw on a skateboard.
Besides the kids in Pennsylvania,
Right.
Yeah,
but I
like-
mean, right in front of your face, like this dude just cracked an ollie.
Yeah, like back then they were just kind of like riding around the skate park and stuff. You know, I don't really remember that part.
Right.
I know there were skaters and BMXers, but that's the first memory
That's
of
the image
somebody
in your head, yeah.
So this guy ollied off this launch ramp, and we were all like, "Yeah, that's tight,"
Oh,
you know.
yeah.
And then I got some some cool BMX bike, but it wasn't even cool. It was like the fake dyno or something.
no.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it had it had all the like lines, like the extra. And I would like do the side stand on it. You know, stand up on the back and like.
Oh, you would do that?
Oh yeah. I was crazy. I
Little
mean,
daredevil.
Think about it. You
Yeah,
know?
little cowboy daredevil with his bike. Huh?
The cowboy hat had been gone.
It's gone.
Yeah,
Okay,
at
no,
that point.
for sure.
Yeah. At that point, I was like, probably have some photos somewhere, but like,
You have a boombox back then?
No boombox.
Boombox.
But there's origin to that story too as well, which is it comes from the next house. So but basically, my bike got stolen there.
Okay.
I got this new bike. I was so hyped on it, and it got stolen, and I was super bummed. And then I can't remember if I ended up having another one after that. Because we moved to a new house then basically, and that place was kind of ghetto we were in, and my parents kind of like we both get better jobs and we're coming up a little bit more, and we got into it. I mean, it was by no means like
A mansion.
anything fancy or anything
Right.
like that, but for us back then it was like the highlight of that time period in my life, and we got this house with a pool, and
sick.
and it was on the west side of Phoenix, basically right down the street from where the west side skate park is at now.
Oh, gotcha.
Wow.
On Encano. We were on Vernon, which Encano turns into Vernon for just a little street and comes down. And things were going pretty good in the family. Everything was going smooth. Slowly but surely, things kind of got a little rocky. The pool turned green, and which led to a positive thing because then my parents allowed me to drain it and start to skate it. But somewhere around that time, I was still riding BMX bikes when we first got there, and there were local skaters in the neighborhood. And this kid, I think his name was Jeremy, and he had a launch ramp, and they would all gather around and launch. And then before we emptied my pool, there was another house with an empty pool where all the skaters would skate at.
Okay.
And I used to try to ride my BMX in there. Eventually, I was like, let me try the board too. And so I started skating with those guys, and then this whole West Side crew of skaters who are all ill skaters. Like at that time, were just like so sick. And similar things to them, I'd be walking home from school, and they would skate these red curbs, and there's this thrifty parking lot, and they would all skate in there. And I used to be walking home from school and like, hey, let me try your board, and I would try to rail slide the curb, and they would get mad because I'd like, don't mess with the
Scrape it,
graphics,
yeah.
and
Right.
stuff. But those guys is like Damon and Benji and my
Aaron Percy?
No. He's way later. He'll tell you he was there. He'll be like, oh, I remember that time when you were at the curb. Like I saw him just 2 nights ago at Ellington's birthday.
Oh, sick.
So that was cool. But that's a whole nother story. I'm not gonna call him out on here, man. Aaron Piercy's the homie. He's the homie for life. But he came in way later than he will tell you.
Right.
We had our gang, but yeah, that I'll get to that point. No,
Okay.
If you want, like, yeah. So, like, I don't know, man. Like, I don't want to just like ramble too far on about everything. Like, I mean, I don't want it to be like this like 10-hour episode or something.
We'll
Like,
make it 6.
yeah.
Yeah. We'll beat Valley's episode.
Yeah.
It's all interesting, man.
Yeah.
It's
It
great.
really
No,
is.
because I find that how people actually got their start in skateboarding is interesting.
Yeah.
Because I think everybody has a different path.
Yeah.
And I'm sure people that listen to it is like, wow, that's amazing that he went through all this stuff to get to
Cool.
starting to skate.
Yeah.
It's funny to think that Mark Gonzalez crossed your path when you were a child.
Yeah.
That's
It's an
kinda nuts.
insane. It's an
Yeah.
insane thought,
Bro.
And then fast forward to these guys who were like, they were this guy Louie, my homie Louie. He could like ollie so high, like, and I used to just like, oh my gosh, like these guys are so rad. And
Older than you.
than
Same age.
They were older. Yeah.
Okay.
They were probably like 16, 17 at the time, and I
Okay.
was like 11, or something around that.
Right.
I'm not positive, but
Gotcha.
they were older at that time. They were way older. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah,
I was
yeah.
like a little kid, and they were like, I was a little dirty rat kid,
Just
you
the
know what I mean?
grom,
Like
yeah.
just like wanting to skate so bad, and eventually I got my own board somehow, and I think it might have been from the kid who had the lawn tramp, which I believe his name was Jeremy, but it's so fuzzy,
Right.
I can't remember. And then there was my other homie Gerald who skated. He was an OG, and like we were kind of best friends at that time. And but anyway, skateboarding in Arizona at that time was huge. It was like it was like a whole scene was going on,
Yeah.
and Thrasherland was booming. They opened up this park, Tower Skate Park, and it was just a fat skate scene going on. Right when I first started getting into it, that's when like Hassoy and everybody would come out and do those things at Tempe,
Right, right.
And there was like skateboarding was huge there, and so. It was just around me. I couldn't help but be exposed to it. But I definitely was very interested. It always caught my eye, even before I was skating. And then eventually I got that board, and the bike was stolen, and I got I got the board, and I was like,
Okay, kryptonite lock.
there's no turning back. I fell completely in love with skateboarding, and it was the joy of my life. It was everything for me. And
It's amazing.
And in that time period where my family was getting rocky, it was like. It was my escape. It was my life source, and God only knows what would have happened had I not had that, especially at that time.
Sure.
And through many times of my life, but that time was some hard times for our family, and my parents eventually broke up again. We lost that house. My mom moved to Vegas. My dad moved to a different place. And so that's when I really, really dove deep into skateboarding.
Gotcha, yeah.
And when everything else was falling apart, I was free.
Yeah.
I got on that thing, and nothing else mattered. You know?
Well, especially for a little kid to be dealing with this stuff too.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
like that skateboard was just it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Best friend.
Yeah. Seriously.
Yeah,
It's amazing.
And it's hard to talk about your family publicly and
Sure.
all this stuff, like, and I want to like say for sure, like, even though it was my mom and dad were having hard times to stay together, but they were always the most loving, best parents ever.
Right.
Even with nothing, we had nothing, but we had all the love in the world. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like they were just such rad parents and such supportive parents. And as soon as I started skating, they were just like, yeah, like that's so cool. And my dad was like, oh, that's like my biker friends, because they would get their crew together and
Yeah.
ride down the block. And
Sure.
then my whole gang would come up, and we would skate down and try to ollie off the curbs and make noise, slide around, and they would rev their engines. So there was always this like comparison to him. I think with skateboarding
amazing, yeah.
to Harley riding.
Yeah. And also just having friends.
Yeah.
A group of
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
friends.
I'm not forgetting about you, Kelly. I love
Oh no,
you.
we're good, bro.
yeah.
All love, man.
Yeah. So that was really when skateboarding started for me.
Okay.
And then I started like having troubles in school a lot. And we in that house I was supposed to go to a different junior high. But it was pretty ghetto junior high.
Oh.
And then so I decided to go to, I used my friend's address to go to a different school. And so I was going to a different school, and we had no telephone. So this is before we moved out of that house. And,
Okay.
and there were some people that, like, me and my friend Mike Ornalis were the only two skaters in the whole school at that point. So I think the times have changed a bit, and like skating was starting to die out a little bit.
Oh, okay.
We were the oddballs at that school, kind of the outcasts,
Sure,
I guess would be a better word to call it. And there were still some like gangs associated with the school. And he was Mexican, I was white, and we skated together all the time. The Mexican gangsters didn't like that, and they would kind of sweat him a lot, and eventually ended up jumping me in front of him, and were like, yo, if you keep skating, like, you're gonna get it next too. Like, don't mess with that white boy shit, or something to that extent, you know? And so basically, and the jocks were after me. There was a lot of like controversy in that school. So I just stopped going. And me and my homie Mike would either skate or take the city bus to this place called the Highlight Banks, which was in Arizona, and it was like an old highlight court,
Like
that little steep little transition.
Oh, sick.
It was abandoned building, and we would basically, for all of 7th grade, I probably went like less than a month to 7th grade.
And then you stopped.
I would kind of show up sometimes, but pretty much just stopped going.
But after a while, it's like, what's the point?
Yeah,
I'm going there one day.
I just wouldn't go. And so all my parents didn't know this though. All the letters were going to my friend's house, and his parents, I guess, I don't know if they didn't care, if they gave them to me or what. And they couldn't call because we didn't have a phone. And so,
as far as your parents knew, you were going to school.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. I pretty much dropped out of school then just started skating full time. And then eventually that was for like all of 7th grade. And then my dad then eventually moved to a new neighborhood and I enrolled into 8th grade. And at that time, I don't know what happened or what the deal was. They just put me right into, they're like, what grade are you in? I'm like, I'm going into 8th grade. And they just put me into 8th grade.
Okay.
So I literally didn't go to 7th grade.
Just skipped it.
Then went to 8th grade and they just put me in it. And I was like, all right, cool. Like I'm in 8th grade. And I actually did really good in 8th grade. I was like, I don't know. I've always had like a strong desire to learn.
Right.
I love learning. Like about anything. I always wanted to learn. It wasn't until then I got into high school that the teacher started to treat me differently because I was a skateboarder. I had baggy pants, I had green hair and blue hair and changed all the time and, you know, chain wallet or whatever that style was at that time. And I was different. And that was a different time. I don't think that society was as accepting to different then. And so they assumed I was a bad kid and really were hard on me.
They treated you kind of based on your looks.
Pretty much. That's what I remember.
Yeah.
And I wasn't perfect by any means, don't get me wrong.
Sure,
you know what I mean? I was a crazy kid
sure.
in general.
Yeah.
But eventually a lot of things happened where from what I remember, there was a science teacher and I had her after lunch and if I was late, you'd get detention or your name on the board or detention. I can't remember which one it was, but whatever it was, she just messed with me so much where she pretty much gave me so many detentions that I wouldn't do the detention. Then you got a Saturday school. If you didn't do the Saturday school, you got suspended.
Right.
And if you were suspended more than, I think, 7 or 12 days, whatever it was, then you had no credit for that semester. And I remember just the principal called me in and was like, you're not going to get credit for this semester. And I just looked at him and I was like, all right, I'm done.
Yeah.
And I walked away and never went back.
Wow.
Yeah. And
I mean, imagine just
yeah.
that's the school system for you,
Yeah.
right? Not encouraging you, but disciplining you.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
And I didn't know I was dropping out for good at that time. I thought I was like, and this is like
maybe you go in 9th grade.
No, that was in 9th grade.
Oh, that was in 9th grade.
I did great.
Okay.
And 8th grade was fine, and the school was nice, and they accepted me. It was like a really cool time from what I remember.
Okay.
It was when I got into high school where a lot of things started to change. The PE coach like punched me one time because I didn't want to wear those like really short shorts.
Yeah.
You know, and like
Yeah.
I was like sagging them, and he was getting so mad at me, and he would come behind like
jack him up,
pull me up, like pull him up on me and stuff, and like and one time I like pushed him or something, I can't remember, and he like literally punched me. The school like PE teacher punched me in front of the whole school.
Jeez.
And like, you know, and so I mean, yeah, and there's so much other stuff that happened during that time, but eventually like that's when I was like, okay, I'm not going to get credit here. I'm not going to stay in school.
Yeah.
And I don't promote this by any means. It's really one of the hardest things I live with is not having an academic background. It haunts me at times because in social situations, you're with people, you have a conversation, it usually leads to, well, what school did you go to? What did you study?
Yeah.
Where did you graduate? And it's one of those things where I felt very proud of the accomplishments that I did do, but I always have this kind of awkward feeling that I didn't go through the same system as everybody else did.
Just graduating high school.
Yeah. But I know in the bottom of my heart, had I tried to go the traditional route and stay in school, there would have been nothing for me there. There was nothing.
Yeah.
Right. Let me ask you a question though. Around this time you're dropping out, what is this, 9th grade you said?
Yeah.
How is the skating going at that point? Are you starting to like get shop sponsors or getting nothing
like that. No.
Okay. Cause a lot of the times that's when stuff starts happening for kids. And a lot of pros that come on the show didn't graduate high school because all that stuff was happening and they had to choose.
But you got to remember, like, this is a while ago now. You know what I mean?
Right,
like, things were different back then. And I would hang out at the local shop, but Pants Man was the main shop that I hung out at back then.
Okay.
And they did demos and brought pros around, but they never really had any type of like traditional team like like shops do nowadays. I probably would act like I did, but what I did is I just stole everything from them.
Are they still in business?
No. So, and once again, I'm not proud of this, but my love for skateboarding was so strong and we had no money and I needed that stuff.
Did you ever get caught?
I got caught.
No.
I got caught eventually. And it ruined my life kind of, you know, because that was my hub, that was my spot. And I loved all those guys that worked there and they loved me. And I had such a strong, like cool connection with that place. And I used to get sneaky there, man. Like I was like, you know, I was like, they would let me watch the shop while they went and got food and stuff, you know, and they would go and get food up the street and I'd grab a board and wheels and I would go and throw it behind the trash can and like wait till everybody went. I would act like I left at the end of the day and everything. Then I would skate back,
go back and get it,
you know? And then one day this guy Kier who worked there, he went to Jack in the Box and I grabbed something. I think it was wheels or something. I can't remember if it was wheels or a board. And then he was coming back and I was in the shop and I seen him walk like he was going to go to the door, and then he walked to the back, started going to the back, and I was like, oh shit. No. I started sweating, you know, and he just came back in with the wheels, and he was like, show me, and I was just like, I was just so bummed, man.
Yeah,
like,
you got caught.
And I knew it was wrong,
sure.
You know, and especially like, I mean, skate shops that are like cool places, you know, that like.
It's like your second home.
Yeah, yeah. So that was always like, a bad time in my life to know, because then it was like I'd skate by it and kind of look over at it, you know. It was right by my house, like on my way to school. Like I would walk past it. It was like the route, and
so they banned you.
I was banned. Yeah, I was banned from the shop.
Shit.
And so that was hard, you know. But in general, like skating was like still like happening, but I feel like the more interested I was becoming in skating, the industry and the skateboarding on a whole was dying simultaneously right along with it. So I was getting hyped and everything else was just dying. And me and my crew were hardcore skaters. We would skate, and I was kind of the youngest of the crew, and we would skate all around. And we would have a blast, you know. We were just skating, and then partying came along. Out of kind of even before all that, I was dabbling with it.
15, 16 years old.
A lot earlier than that. Okay. Yeah, we don't have to go all the way back.
Sure.
But I was, you know, I was introduced to like smoking weed and drinking at like a really young age. Like I'm talking third grade, I was smoking weed.
Oh my,
like
damn,
wow,
which was crazy.
That's
you know? And I always hung out with older kids for some reason. The sixth graders stole it from their parents, and we would like, you know, when anybody asked me anything, I was like, oh, I smoke weed all the time. You know what I mean? Like, what are you talking about? Like, yeah, I'd never smoked in my life, you know, never drank. I was like, yeah, I drink. What are you talking about? You know, like
you just wanted to fit in and be cool,
thing, you know, and so I was introduced to it at a really young age. It wasn't like continuous at that point, but I had dabbled with things at a really young age.
Right.
And then around freshman year in high school is around when I really started to party, you know, and all my friends, we partied hard, and that's when the whole scene started to kind of like go in different directions at that point with my crew, you know. Some people went to drugs, some people just kept drinking, you know, and a lot of them slowly but surely stopped skateboarding.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden I found myself like kind of the only one interested in it. And so I kept going. And then I really started skateboarding by myself a lot of that time period. And I would skate like weeks on end without seeing any other skaters anywhere. Whoa. And I would go take the bus to downtown Phoenix and skate all around downtown. And it was like, you know, 120 degrees and I'd be skating around by myself, just like all right, like, you know, like, what's going on here? And
I got to find a new crew.
Yeah. And you know what's funny is that I eventually, I don't know how we met, but there was the Wedge in Arizona, and that was like still like the because Tower Skate Park had closed down, Thrasherland had closed down, all the parks closed down, and that used to be like the hub, you know.
Yeah.
And so after all those closed down, that's when I turned to street skateboarding, you know. But there wasn't much in my neighborhoods where I was at, you know. But I would just make up whatever I could skate. And then, I started going downtown, but eventually, somehow I made my way to the Wedge, and I met Eric Ellington, and and Sean Hughes and Scotty Kopelman. I knew Scotty Kopelman for a long time.
Okay,
he lived more on our side of the neighborhood, and then we just became really cool, good friends, and his mom would pick me up almost every Friday, and he lived right at the Wedge, an apartment complex right behind it. And so she would drive down on Friday, pick me up, I'd stay the weekend, we'd skate, you know, all day, all night, and eat pizza or whatever we did, and drive me off home on Sunday night, and that was kind of my routine.
Is there any like inspiration you had from like magazines or anything at that point? Were you watching anyone in videos or anything yet?
I had one magazine. I had one Thrasher, and I'm pretty sure it was the one with Hosoi on the cover, where he's just like flying in the air, and like there's like no launch ramp. There's like it's just like palm trees and him flying. And I think that was like, for me, I was like, that's California,
right?
You know, like you just flying in the air, and there's palm trees and girls all over the place. You know what I mean? Like I was like
for Hosoi there was.
Yeah.
That was Hosoi's life.
So that was, I had no skate thrashing. I saw thrashing.
Okay.
That was the only skate video I'd ever seen before, like, going to Pants Man. This is before. Like, I had the Thrasher, and then, like, the PAL videos had come out, you know. But what I really, really remember seeing was when the Shackle Me Not came out for the H Street videos. And so I was in the skate shop, and I saw Shackle Me Not, and then later Hocus Pocus.
Right.
And I remember just like, I could do this anywhere, you know, like, and I would just go around my neighborhood and try to find something that was like remotely close to like the bank to rail or bank to curb, or they were so far off from what it was, but I would just like imagine that like I was doing what they were doing, you know. And so that was the H Street videos were like a huge change in my life. I had seen Ban This and I don't remember which came out first. Bad with time frames. It's all around the same, close to the same time, you know. And I remember seeing Ban This and being so inspired by that and hyped, like, this is like cool, this is like hip hop, and like, you know, there's street and graffiti and all these things. And I remember seeing it, but something felt like polished to that, to me. Like it was like it was unattainable, you know. It was just something that you saw and you could never ever be a part of it. And then I saw the H Street videos, and I was like, there's something there. Like this is like me and my homies.
Right.
Like I can do this too, you know. And that's, I think, was the first spark where I was like, I'm gonna do this, you know. Like I don't know if it was like 100%, but at least I related to that. That was one of my earliest things remember relating to. And then we just skate. That's all my life consisted of, and partying too.
Okay. Yeah.
And so I was partying hard still. I was into skating. Then I got into graffiti as well too. My homie Marco moved from Puerto Rico, and I had been exposed to graffiti living in the East Coast. When we on the freeways, there was graffiti all over the place, and I remember just being on the school bus, just always looking at it. Like I liked it, you know.
Yeah.
It was crazy. It was stimulating, and I remember seeing it. But my homie Marco, Noose, OG, turned me on to graffiti, and I started tagging. We were just practicing drawing, and I was learning his letters and all this stuff. And he wrote Noose, and that's when I was living in Arizona. And then my mom had moved to Vegas, so eventually I was going back and forth a bit. I went to Vegas, and then none of my homies were into graffiti out there, and so I just kind of bit his style, and I wrote Foos instead of Noose. I put an F. I was like Foos, and I was like, I'm a tagger. And so I told all my friends, I was like, I do graffiti, I'm a tagger. And I was with these one homies, and which is, oh man, I have so many stories. It just goes on and on and on and on. But and it'll jump around a little bit. But basically, when I moved to Vegas, my mom lived in this apartment complex, and it just so happened that Paul Smith, a pro skater, lived in that same apartment complex. And my homie, his roommate, Paul Morris, Lonnie Marsh, and Anthony Carr.
Okay.
And these guys were like crazy partiers. Like they were like insane. And I was like real young, and I saw them. I was like all these skaters and girls going in this apartment, and then I just started skating flat ground in front of their house like every day. I would come out, I started blessing my tricks and hoping they saw me. And then eventually somehow I just made it, they invited me in.
You got in the house.
Yeah. And from that point on, I was like the mascot of their house.
Okay.
And they were like the OGs of Vegas, you know, like they were like, just, you know, they were pro, and he was pro, and he lived in Vegas. And
this is before Foos.
when I first met them, it was before Foos.
Okay.
And then I went back, and then I was starting to do it a little bit, and then went back, and I got really into graffiti. Then I came back, and they had a new apartment. And I was like, yeah, I'm a tagger, you know. And I went and like, I remember I wanted to show them, so I brought them out, and I like hopped the other apartment complex wall, and like I spray paint Foos, and they were checking it out, and a security guard like runs up, almost got busted like on the. I think that was the first
God.
like real tag that I did, because before I hadn't even tagged in Arizona yet. I just been like drawing it on the book, you know. And I got there, and I was like, yeah, like give me that spray paint.
I'm gonna go hit up this apartment complex.
And then that led to like an amazing friendship with those guys.
Okay.
And so I would go back and forth from the two. My friends in Arizona got into some heavier drugs, and they were into like meth and heroin and anything and everything pretty much that existed.
Okay.
They started to go down a pretty gnarly path. And I would take break. I would be in Vegas for a while. These guys partied hard in Vegas, but they just drank and smoked weed. That was their thing, you know what I mean? And they skated hard. They were about skating. And as my crew in Arizona kind of died off, and this isn't Ellington and those guys, this is a whole completely FSUP, fuck shit up punks. That was our gang.
Okay.
Yeah. I still have a tattoo of it. And so these guys kind of started getting worse and worse, and I would come here in Vegas skating hard, and then I'd come back and I'd be like, whoa, this shit's getting kind of crazy here, you know? And I would still dabble around there, but if I went to Vegas and I was like, yo, let's get some you know, some tweak or some like whatever it was, they'd be like, you know, they would check me. They would put me in check hard, like, you can't do that shit, you know? And so they really kind of saved me in a lot of ways, even though you should have seen what we were doing wasn't really necessarily saving, but at least they said, don't mess with the hard stuff, you know? And so that was a blessing in disguise, because I lost a lot of friends in Arizona. A lot of them died. A lot of them went over the edge completely, you know? And it was hard to see. And I had already been so nomadic in my life at that point. I was never in one place for a long time, ever. I'd never stayed in a house more than a couple years. Like always 2 years was the most I ever stayed, and that was maybe it was 2. I might have not even been 2 years. And so that's been a part of my life and how I've been ever since. Like I've just always kept going, and I've connected with so many great people over the years, and like have such special times and moments with all these different people. But I've always just kept moving. I just kept it moving and kept it moving and kept going. And and then from the party crew and those guys kind of started fading out a little bit too. And that's when I started getting down with the graffiti crew more. Me and my homie Travis Fogel were like a tight crew. We formed our own crew. My homie Chuck. We got heavy into graffiti. We were like,
you'd go out bombing and stuff.
We were like up in Vegas.
Oh,
like
wow.
that was like our life, you know, like we were like crazy taggers. And we used to get like chased by cops all the time, every time. Eventually I got busted for my 3rd time for graffiti. I had like a lot of like juvenile detention time in front of me, community service, all this stuff. Wow. A lot of things. And I've kind of told this story here and there, but I mean, I guess it's good for your viewer
for sure,
to hear it.
Sure. Yeah.
Things were getting crazy in Vegas, and after that 3rd time being busted, my mom was we were living in a trailer park, like pretty far outside of like the main Vegas area.
Okay.
My mom was just gave birth to my little sister Savannah, and it was like she had a roommate there too. It was just like I was coming of age at that point too, you know. I was probably still only like, see, all this happened in like 1 year time period.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Everything right that I just said, and 10,000 times more in that 1 year, which seemed like 20 lifetimes in that 1 year.
Crazy.
So much had happened. But then eventually I just was like, I got to get out of here. A calling was within me, and I was like, nope, like I'm not staying here. I can't do it. And I knew these girls were going to San Diego, and I got a ride to San Diego, got dropped off on the beach. I knew one dude there, this guy Mikey that worked at the skate shop Hamels. And I'd met him one time in Vegas. He was like, if you ever come to San Diego, hit me up, you know? And
You're like, I'm here.
Yep.
Wow.
And I just showed up, and I was like, I probably had like, you know, I don't know how much money, but not a lot. You know what I mean? Like,
And the clothes on your back.
a backpack. I had my backpack. That's probably why I still wear this. These days. It's like, you know, Linus has his blanket. I got my backpack. You know?
Seriously. But you were living on the beach for a long time.
Yeah, but it was just so different though. It wasn't like I was like, oh, I'm like dying homeless here and like, you know, starving, which there were definitely starving moments.
Okay.
But I was accepted into this crew there, and it was the AF crew, Always Faded.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
And Matt Walker, Tony, can't think of his last name, and this is my homie Elliot and Mikey, and it's that's a whole nother lifetime too. But these guys were like kind of like squatter kids, like almost, you know. They were from San Diego, but they were just like the beach locals, and they just kicked it on the beach every day. And there were some girls part of the crew and all this stuff, and that was my life, was where Hamels is at, and those ledges that are there. I just kicked it there every day and skated. But the crazy part was, I forgot to mention too, was that I broke my ankle in Vegas, like really, really bad. And I had to get surgery. So I have a metal plate and like 9 pins in it.
Still to this day?
Yeah, they're still there. Yeah.
9 pins.
So I had to, I quit skateboarding. And that's why
That's when the graffiti really kicked in.
Really into graffiti.
Right.
Yeah.
Wait, so you moved to San Diego based off not skating?
Yeah.
Like you just wanted to get
Well, you had to get out of there.
Yeah, well, it was either that I was supposed to, I didn't go back to court or whatever it was I had to do. I was like, you know, only 15 or whatever. So I just was like, I'm out.
You kind of bailed on it, but at the same time, you knew that it was the best thing for you.
Yeah.
Like you had to leave that situation, which is amazing to even have that wherewithal to do that, you know?
Yeah. And you know, it's weird. It's like my whole life, I always felt like I was in the wrong place. As a kid, I have that memory of that, of being young, and like I've been kind of an outsider my whole life, you know. Like I spent time with a lot of people, but I would always venture off on my own, and I would go skate on my own. I would like, before skating, I would go walk around on my own, and you know, and I would always think a lot, and so I remember, like, I have a lot of some of the memories I do have of my childhood and my early skating years would just go and skate to this parking lot, and I would just sit there and I would daydream. And I would like watch cars drive by, and I would think like, what if I had that car? I would get in that car and I would drive to California, you know, and like I would have these like, I would like daydreams, you know.
It almost sounds like California was your destination the whole time.
Yeah. Definitely, like, and my mom told me that too. She said, like, you know, when I was young, she'd be like, you'd always say that you're moving to Santa Monica.
Oh, seriously?
Santa Monica. So I don't know why.
Never went to Santa Monica. Never been there.
I think that came also from the Tom Petty song a lot too, you know, and the Free Fallin' song, and seeing and it was like Ventura Boulevard and something. I think he said maybe something about Santa Monica, or else it maybe I just assumed that was Santa Monica when I saw it.
Right.
I think that was part of like something that embedded into my head too, that like, and then the skate videos obviously as well too. But at a real young age, she told me I would say that, and I didn't remember saying it.
So when you got to San Diego, did you feel like you were in the place you wanted to be?
Honestly, I don't remember exactly, but I have a little bit of memory feeling like, oh shit, what did I just do?
Like you made a big move.
This is real.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I'm here, like I'm by myself. I don't have anybody, and I'm just like put my headphones on, and like I had like 2 tape cassettes or something. I remember I had this Black Moon tape cassette, and and I used to just rock that, and it's like, and I would just have my headphones. I had my sketchbook, my graffiti sketchbook, and I couldn't skate yet. I had a cane. So I was like on a cane. I was just like with my graffiti book and walking around the beach. And my homie Mikey was like, "Yo, I'm like working." You know what I mean? Like, and he's like, "There's some homies out there." And I don't even know how it all happened, but I met those guys, and they had a tagging crew called TV as well too.
Okay.
Jay Strickland was in it, I'm pretty sure
Oh,
too.
wait, what about your leg though? Do you have like, are you planning on going to a doctor? I mean, or are you just waiting for it to heal?
No, I got the surgery.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But you're still waiting for it to heal,
Yeah,
right?
it's just healing. There's no physical therapy. The cast came off. Yeah.
And you're just waiting now for it to heal.
And it was just, I mean, I went to a free clinic and got this thing done. So who knows? And it's still in there. You know what I mean? Like,
well, they did a good job.
I know, right? You should send them a videotape of what you've been doing, you know, for them to show other clients.
No way.
I can say one thing. I used to be good at skating switch. I promise. I had an ill-mean switch flip.
So it's your back ankle.
Yeah.
Okay.
So like I used to do all kinds of switch tricks, and after that, like the mobility, the flick wasn't quite there.
So is your ankle kind of froze a little bit? I mean, you could go up and down, but kind of side to side.
It's just like now I can't really remember the comparison to what it was before. It just is what it is at this point.
Right.
Yeah. So it was a trippy time, you know. Like I was just kind of like, okay, like I'm gonna go for this no matter what, because whatever I have here is like
not working.
Even if I lost there, it didn't matter because I wasn't losing out on anything here. You know what I mean? So, yeah, basically then I met those homies, and they were skaters and they were graffiti artists and they were partiers. Okay. and the party kind of continued. We kept partying, and slowly but surely my ankle was getting a little bit better. But I was still on a pretty crazy dark path, and those guys were pretty gnarly as well too. It's what drugs and what they were into, and this is like the 90s rave scene was still kind of like happening, and so we were like going to the raves and in the ecstasy scene a bit, and you know, and all
the
that kind of stuff. Yeah, it was pretty just a lot of shady culture, you know, and then staying wherever. There was one girl, our homegirl Stephanie, who had a house, and she let like all of us crash there kind of whenever, but sometimes it would be so crazy there that I didn't want to go there, so I would like lurk other places, and you know, so that it was a crazy time, you know. But it was the best of times as well too, you know. It was like the future was wide open. Anything could happen.
I mean, you're still young, you know,
and we were having a blast, you know, and it was so simple, you know, like the simplest things made such a big difference at that time. It was just like getting some food in your system, getting a 40 to drink, you know, meeting a girl on the beach, you know, whatever it was just like so magical. And like, especially for me, like coming from the trailer park in Vegas and being busted and like just in the desert like that, I was like, you know, this is heaven.
Now you're on the beach.
Yep.
Yeah. Did you still have like sponsorship and all that stuff in your mind too at this point?
Yeah. So rewind a bit.
Yeah.
Paul Smith hooked me up with GNS. I was getting flowed. And even before that, I mean, like I said, I'm missing like a million points, which there's no time to tell it all.
Sure.
But the first hookup I ever got was there was a tour where Thomas Campbell, Tobin Yelland, and the homies.
You
Bam,
out of here?
Come over here, Bam. Come over here, Bam. I love Bam.
Where you?
Yeah.
You heading out?
Huh? Yeah, I gotta go.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are you good?
I'm good.
Where are you going?
I gotta go down in Venice.
Back to the spa?
Johnny Schillerev.
Okay.
Knoxville.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, man. We love you, Bam.
Love you too.
Fucking for life, man.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Yeah,
if I didn't
man.
have this interview, I'd be going with you right now. tell Johnny Squared that I said hi, and I love them too, man. Stay strong, Captain.
Yeah, man.
You got this.
Be good, bud.
You
Later,
got
G.
this.
Dude.
Bam, 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 bam,
Bam, bam, bam, bam, bam, bam, bam, bam, bam, bam, bam.
bam, bam. Yeah, we love you, Bam. So that's a whole nother. That's another story too. This might be that one. We'll have to save that.
Just show up.
Yeah.
I know, right?
Yeah.
So go ahead. You were saying that.
Oh
what
yeah.
were you
So
saying?
Tobin Yelland.
Oh yeah, Tobin.
Thomas Campbell. Jesse Paez. Tim Broch.
Okay.
Rest in peace. And Chris Pontius.
Oh wow.
And a whole crew of, I can't remember who else was with them, but they came on some tour, and they were on this random tour to Vegas, and like we had heard they were coming, you know what I mean? And like I just showed up with them, And I just started breaking it off as hard as I could.
Oh, seriously?
Like ever. Like at that time, I was like, that was my opportunity. I'd never seen a pro skateboard photographer before, and they were doing something for Thrasher magazine. I think it was Thrasher, or no, Transworld. But it was for Transworld actually, yeah. And I just was like, this is my shot,
your shot.
you
Yeah,
know.
I got it.
And like I went buck. I just remember I went buck. I no slid like a 14-stair handrail, which at that time was like nobody was touching handrails back then. That photo never came out.
Never came out.
What?
And I broke like 3 guys' boards doing it, and I landed it, and like maybe they were too scared to put it out.
What is this like?
Where was it? Where?
So this was that rail. It's people skate. I later lip slid it in my pro spotlight for Transworld. It was like a Kinko's rail, and it was coming off like a second story. There was one in the back that was smaller, and it had like a drop off on the other side.
Okay.
Like the stairs went down, and that one went like that, so it looked like super rad when you shot it. But the one out front, I never seen many people skate it, but I no slid that back in the day.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wait, this isn't down in San Diego, right?
No, this is in Vegas.
This is Vegas.
Yeah, this is in Vegas. So
Okay.
this is sorry that I'm
No.
you're good,
I'm right there with you.
going
No, I'm right there with you.
around, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. So but that was my first like exposure to like, besides Paul Smith and my homies,
Right.
You know, that were pro there. Like we filmed with Paul's camera and took turns. I'd never seen a real magazine photographer, you know.
So
that
this was a big
happened.
deal.
Super big
Did
deal.
anything come out of it?
Then we went to Circus Banks, this one spot, and I backside flipped the whole thing, which is like this
wow.
banked. It's like a natural
Like a little
pyramid.
pyramid,
Yeah,
Okay.
that was like it was like a loading dock, but it was like a natural pyramid. So I like backside flipped it. Did some other crazy stuff I can't remember, but the backside flip ended up in Transworld, and so that must have been my first.
That was your first
printed photo, yeah. And
By Tobin.
Thomas Campbell.
Thomas
shot that.
Campbell.
Yeah, I think
Gotcha.
he shot. They were both shooting. But
Okay.
I'm pretty sure Thomas's photo is what got published.
Okay.
Yeah, it was for sure because he sent it to me recently.
Sick.
I've seen it.
Dope.
Do you think the other skaters were hyped on you, or they think were they kind of like, oh, who is this new kid?
They were being super cool to me, man.
yeah?
Jesse Pius had just 180'd Wallenberg. He won some competition, and so Consolidated, I think it was, turned him or put him on the team because
Okay.
he won that contest. Mike Chu was another OG pro skater from Vegas. He ollied Wallenberg in that competition, but I think because Jesse 180'd it, they gave him the thing.
Right, he got the prize, yeah.
And so I don't think Paul Smith wasn't hooking me up yet. He was always telling me he was gonna, but he never did. And then Tim Broch was like, "Oh, you're rad. Like, I want to hook you up." And I was like, "Oh my God, this is so cool."
Yeah.
And he sent me, I got one box and I got a SMA board and some independent trucks.
Okay.
And possibly Spitfire wheels, but maybe some sort of set of wheels. I can't remember. And I was just like, I'm sponsored.
You basically got it complete.
I was sponsored at that point. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, I was like, I was sponsored. You know, that was another flashback. Not to keep going
No,
backwards.
please,
When I used to
please.
steal from the skate shop, I'd wear like dope new skate shirts to school all the time, everything, and like everybody was like, you know, where do you get all this stuff from? I was like, I'm sponsored.
Sponsored. yeah.
So I guess I wanted to be sponsored for a long time.
Yeah.
You know,
I mean, it's everybody's dream,
Yeah,
right? But
yeah.
still,
Who doesn't like free shit?
everybody loves free shit.
Yeah, so yeah, it's pretty funny. So but then that was like, I only got that one package, but you know, I remember that box came in and I saw that like Santa Monica Airlines box. It had like the print on it and everything, you know.
Yeah, man.
And I just opened that thing up and I was like, oh my God, like, you know, it's like it was only one board and one set of trucks and the wheels, but
Still, it's like a Christmas.
I
It's
just
the
remember
best
holding
feeling
those
ever.
indies and just being like, it was just like a pure diamond in my hand or
Right,
something at that
yeah,
point, you know.
yeah.
And so Tim was the first guy that ever sent me a box. I
It's
guess
amazing.
not to remember. Yeah,
great,
Tim,
man.
love you, brother.
Wow.
Rest in peace.
Definitely. Wow.
Yeah, and so that was kind of the first thing, and then eventually that didn't go anywhere, and then Paul Smith kind of noticed like something was happening. He got me on GNS.
Okay.
GNS only lasted for like a month after I got on. Then
Turned
it
to
went on.
And.
Then it turned to and lasted for a very short time as well. But I had a
That turned to Maple.
yeah. But I had an ad for and in a magazine, which was maybe my second published. It was
Okay.
like rocket flipping this like 10 stair. It's amazing. You guys got to hunt that one down too.
Yeah.
Wow, yeah.
Matt Pill's on the team then?
I don't know if he was. I know Mark Johnson was, and I don't think Jerry Hasu was on yet, but Mark Johnson was.
So you transferred over from Ann to Maple.
Yeah, and
turned into
Maple.
Turned into
Yeah.
Right.
And that was through Watson. And then I was just starting to get hooked up, and there was this contest coming up, and they were going to send me out to the contest in California, and I don't remember where it was at.
Okay.
And I was skating like, sorry, I'm going so.
Oh wait, this is still when you were
This is in Vegas.
Vegas.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
No. I thought you were still living on the beach when you got on Maple.
No, so I was in Vegas, and I just got on,
okay.
and they were hooking me up, and they were like, I'd filmed some tricks with Paul, and I had this tape, and I sent it to them, and they were stoked on it. They were like,
Sick.
this kid's rad or whatever, and I was getting super hyped, and they were gonna send me to California for the first time, and I was so hyped. And then I went to our local skate park. It was called Rock Solid. It was like a youth center.
Oh.
We called it Crack Rock Solid
Crack
because
Rock
it was like
Solid. Okay.
it was super hood. It was like super hood, like because they had the skate park and they also had like a basketball court and like a whole like youth center. It was
Okay.
like, and it was in like North Vegas, which is hood. And shout out to Jay and Pancho, my homies, my OG homies who used to hold it down there and take care of me. They were straight from the hood too, and that's a whole nother story. But we'll leave it at that. But those guys have my back. But anyway, I'm skating there like the night or two before I'm supposed to get flown out for the first time,
yeah.
and that's when boom, I'm doing this backside ollie flip on this vert wall, and I had some, I think they were, can't remember what kind of shoes they were, but they were like maybe Diodoras, and they had this like thick ass sole. And I think I got them at Ross back in the day or something. They looked dope, but they had this like thick sole. I did this alley-oop kickflip on the vert wall, kicked it out. My foot landed flat on the vert wall, and boom, that's when I broke
That's
my
when you
ankle.
broke it.
Oh,
That's when I broke my ankle. So there was a gap between all that, but I broke my ankle bad. As soon as I broke my ankle, Maple was like, peace. Call us when it gets better. You know what I mean? Like,
Well, because they weren't about to send you boards for nothing, right?
No. So yeah, that was pretty much it. And I was like, damn. And that's when I was kind of like, shit was over, and that's when I got into the graffiti more and all that.
Gotcha.
So sorry that I kind of
No. We're right there with you.
That,
We're right there with you.
That
Chilling.
in the past conversation.
For sure.
And then so went through all that phase of life that I explained kind of earlier. Got fast forward to San Diego. I'm just into graffiti. I'm walking around with the cane. I'm on the beach. Donger was my, gonna be my teammate pretty much.
Yeah.
And Jason Carney. And so I'm starting to see these guys at the beach, and they're breaking it off, skating, and that was the mecca of skateboarding at that time. San Diego was like,
It was popping.
Nothing else existed really. I mean, Northern California was cracking for its scene for that Thrasher and all that,
Sure.
but for California,
Coverage wise, yeah.
it
San
was
Diego
like
where you wanna
that
be.
was the spot,
Was this
And
in Pacific Beach that you were staying in?
Mission Beach?
Oh, Mission Beach,
Same,
okay.
pretty much same, close. To
Yeah,
but,
yeah.
locals might get mad. It's not the same. Mission Beach. So so we were like just a little south of there, where the roller coaster is.
Yeah, yeah.
Yep,
And that's
yep.
where those ledges, those famous ledges that Sal Barbier skated all the
yeah.
time.
Yep.
And then there was like a little bump to flat like that we would skate like religiously all day long. Skate those ledges, skate that, skate flat ground, waiting for some pro to show up, whatever.
Right.
And so that was really going off there. And then I slowly started rolling again.
Your
I
ankle was healing.
It was getting better. It was getting better.
Okay.
And so I started skating, but I couldn't skate good yet. And I was like so frustrated.
Were you calling Maple back yet, or was
Not
this
really.
no?
Maybe they gave me some boards or something,
Okay.
But then eventually I started to get better. And then, yes, I hit them up.
Gotcha.
And they were like, oh, we're, because when was that? They were starting to film for a new video.
Rites of Passage.
I had already filmed that in Vegas.
You had filmed that already.
So that was my sponsor me tape to get on the team, basically.
Oh, the
was,
footage
was
in
the
the video?
rites of passage.
Okay.
So I filmed that already. That was right before I broke my ankle. And so I filmed that, sent it in, it got in the video.
Gotcha.
Then they were like, we're going to send you out to California.
Oh, okay.
And it all ended. And then they were going to start to film for the second video was going to come out.
Okay.
And I was like, okay, cool. Like I want to start filming, And then I started getting better, and I was skating flat ground a lot. Still partying though, and it's kind of like iffy where I was staying and all this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Then it just so happened my friends from Arizona, the FSUP crew,
Okay.
they moved to Hillcrest, San Diego, and got a studio apartment.
Oh, wow.
And so I was like, oh, my homies are out here. Like I could like go and stay with them over there. And then that allowed me to kind of have an escape away from the beach again, and sort of like that routine I was stuck in there for a while. And I started skating again with my Arizona homies, and I started simultaneously got better. My ankle was getting stronger. I was
Okay.
skating more. Some of my homies had a video camera there. We started filming a lot. and I started clocking some footage for my part.
For the part,
and I was
yeah.
getting psyched. I was like, I'm coming back. Like, I'm gonna be able to do it again. I was getting really happy.
Sick.
And then by chance, random thing, like somehow Josh Kalis knew one of the roommates, and Jeremy DeGlopper was kind of staying there, I think.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's tight.
And he's another pro for those that don't know. Somehow they started coming around the house. I can't even remember how or why. Maybe probably because DeGlopper was staying there.
Okay.
From what I remember, once again, it's a little shady. but-
Sure. Fragmented.
yeah.
Fragmented.
And then one day I was gone, and somehow, because Josh Kalis was there, Jamie Thomas showed up at the house, and they were like watching my tape on the TV. And
This one they were doing Invisible.
he had just got on Toy Machine.
Right.
I'm pretty sure he was just started. I think he had just started riding for Toy Machine and started
Okay.
kind of rebuilding a team a little bit.
Right.
He saw this tape and was like, "Who is this kid?" Blah blah blah. And they were like, "Oh, it's the homie Chad from Vegas and Arizona. He's our he's like, where's he at? He's not here." And I came back and they were like, "Jamie was here. He saw your tape." And I was like, "Oh shit!" Like because I had looked up to Jamie at that time.
Sure.
I was hyped on him when he came out because he was different when he first came out. I just remember seeing him like flying over roof gaps, and like he had this like crazy bleach blonde hair, and like I didn't even know anything about his story or the similarities that we kind of shared of our journey of coming out and trying to do. I didn't even know that, but for
Right.
some reason, in the visible footage and stuff, I was like hyped on him.
Yeah.
And and so I heard he saw the tape and he was like talking about it, and I was like,
Sick.
"Whoa, this is crazy." And eventually, somehow he was like, "Let's go skate," like, and we ended up going skating together, and that's where my real first opportunity came to like be connected to the industry. He was rolling around with Dave Swift and Daniel Stewart,
Yeah.
and they had a video camera, and he like knew what he was doing, and I was like, "This is legit," like, and I was like, "All right, it's on." Like I'm bringing it,
Yeah.
Like, and I just any chance I got, as soon as the camera came out, I was like,
Just going for it.
like going for it, and then we just kept we just started skating together more and more and more. And somehow one day he was like, "Do you want to get on Toy Machine?"
Wow.
And I was just like, 100% yes. Like, no questions asked. Like,
Seriously.
thank you, Maple, and everything. But like, it was just like, that's who I was skating with. Like,
Yeah.
I wasn't
Yeah.
really like, Donger was my homie. Like, and Donger's one of my great friends to this day. And Jason Carney, I love Carney and all them. But I was never like going around and hanging out with them at that time and like skating, like, so I was just with them, and I was just like, that's what I wanted to do, is to be a part of something that was like my friends.
Yeah.
And I was
And
like,
they were pushing you on a skateboard.
Yeah.
They were.
You
yeah, it was
Yeah.
it was a golden time for myself, for skateboarding. That's when the death of skateboarding had happened, or it's not death, but like the
low.
the very, very lowest of low. And as my career started to build and grow, and I was becoming more involved with it, it really then started to grow again.
Right.
So I experienced my initial start for skateboarding. I loved it. It was I was getting so hyped on it, and it was dying out, and I watched everything kind of disappear. And then as I had the second win and the second opportunity, or the first real opportunity, I saw everything starting to grow
Climb,
with
yeah.
it too.
Yeah, wow.
So it was like a perfect timing for myself to
Okay.
come up for skateboarding,
Sure.
and to connect with somebody like Jamie, who was very driven and was working hands-on with the business aspect of skateboarding. I just was watching it all.
Yeah.
And I was like, and then I met Ed Templeton, and I was like, Ed owns this company and he's a pro skater, and I just like was a spark went off, and
Yeah.
then I went to Foundation and Toy Machine and saw Todd Swank, and he was another OG pro skater who had started this place, and they had a warehouse filled with product, and I'm like, wait, these are skaters doing this.
Right.
This isn't some like McDonald's corporation.
Yeah.
These guys are making this happen.
Yeah.
And I was, my mind was blown because I didn't know that. Like growing up skateboarding, I thought it was like some
Company.
machine that was doing it. I didn't know what was doing it. You know
I don't know where
what I mean?
these boards are coming from.
Yeah.
But,
So to see that was like ultra inspiring.
Yeah, I
and,
could imagine.
And I really looked up to Jamie, and I was like, I had a work ethic too. Like not only because I had nothing, but because I loved it.
Right.
I love to skateboard. I love to document those tricks on film. I love to go home and see it. I love to think about the idea of adding that to a part. I love to shoot the photos and connect with these photographers who had a passion for photography, and then to see that image come out in a magazine. It was like, I can't explain.
You can't explain it. Yeah,
it's pretty common nowadays, but still, for any kid who's doing it for the first time, it's a similar experience.
It's mind blowing.
But especially for that time, because it was like, I mean, there was no internet or YouTube or like something that you could upload a video or like understand how this was happening. It was just like, I'm just going to this place, no GPS to guide you to the skate spot, it's like
Thomas guides.
Thomas guides. Yeah, we had that.
Yeah,
and I didn't, but the people in cars did.
Sure.
So it was just like complete unknown that happened. It was like, and they say that in life, like, you can manifest things, you can will them into existence.
Yep.
And I truly believed I willed my life into existence. I manifested it. Those daydreams I had when I sat on that car in the curb, when I was sitting on that curb as a little kid and just dreaming about this, envisioning what I could see as a life of cars and skateboarding and palm trees and everything. I'd just think vision, dream it. And it happened. It came real.
It's crazy.
Wow. It gives me chills still right now, man. Like, I'm waiting to wake up and be sitting on that curb. You know what I mean? Like,
and plus, it was Jamie Thomas too.
Yep.
I mean, you guys are so. I mean, like, workhorse, and you're just such a workhorse, and you're focused on what you want to do.
Yeah.
It's like two peas in a pod, man. I'm sure you guys really pushed each other.
Yeah, and I think he saw that in me. You know what I mean? He saw that, like, I was willing to make it happen, and I loved it. It wasn't like,
you're not going to let this opportunity go away.
No, not at all. Not at all.
Take advantage of it.
And like, it's like, it's strange because, like, when I look back on it, I try to remember if I looked at it as an opportunity or looked at it as like, this is just pure passion. Like, this is like what my destiny, more destiny than opportunity, kind of, where it was like, oh my gosh, like, it just was all happening. And so it was just, and then once it started, it was like,
game on.
I didn't know what happened after that. I still don't know what happened.
It's a blur.
It just was like, boom. It was from 0 to 100, and then it was just like,
uphill.
and it just kept going and kept going and kept going. And then eventually, I think the same things that me and Jamie bonded over were what eventually pushed us apart.
Interesting. Because you had filmed for the Welcome to Hell video.
Yeah.
Which I was in, by the way. We almost were in the same video. Muska. Let me tell you something. Almost. We're so close.
Got a whole part?
But so you were...
I'm sorry. I saw on Instagram the other day, someone posted, I think it was Memory Screen. He's like, this is Muska's part from the Toy Machine video. Is that actually real?
Yeah, it came out later on a DVD. They like had some limited DVD that they released it.
Okay.
They ended up, like, Ed asked me if he could put it as like a hidden. It's like a hidden.
Oh, like an egg thing or something.
Oh, Easter egg. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
But you had filmed the whole part, and then when it was going to come out, it played at the premiere. Your part played at the premiere. No,
the video never showed up to the premiere. And that's why
they're still editing it.
First of all, I didn't want my part to come out yet anyway, because I was hurt towards the end, and I wasn't happy with it.
Okay.
It wasn't my final part. I wasn't done with it.
Were you gonna have last part?
I wanted to. that was
your goal.
That was my goal, you
Right.
know. And I tail slid the Cardiel ledge in San Francisco.
Okay, yeah.
It stuck, and I tweaked my ankle really bad. And I was just like, one more month, just please push it one more month. And Jamie was just like, it's coming out. And I accepted it.
Okay.
Eventually, I was happy. I was like, okay, whatever. It's just a part. I'll be able to film more. And
right.
So fast forward to the premiere night, I'm hyped. At that point, I'm not bummed that's coming out. Originally I didn't want it to, but that night it was celebration time. You know what I mean? Like, the video premiere, I'm on Toy Machine, I'm pro. Like, I was just like in my glory. That's every dream was all part of the dream. Was
you're already pro.
Yes.
In that year.
I think I was. Yeah.
In that year.
I was pro. Yeah.
So you get on Toy Machine, and in that year you turn pro, and then now the Welcome to Hell video part.
I went pro for Maple, I guess. I think I did. I can't remember.
Fragments.
I'm pretty sure
Yeah.
I did. I think I went pro for Maple.
Okay.
If not, I definitely went pro for Toy Machine really fast.
Yeah.
Like it was like within a couple months, I think I had a board,
Crazy.
something like that.
Wow.
And then
So the night of the premiere,
I'm
you're
so hyped. I'm celebrating like crazy. I got a bottle of Goldschlager. Okay.
The gold with the gold flakes in it. Yeah.
That's because I was balling. I was like, I got gold in my drink. Even like, I thought I was so cool, man. Like,
I love
that
that.
was
Yeah.
like the highlight of my life that night. You know. And so we're partying, we're waiting, and the nights, and I'm getting more faded as it's going on, and then like. Eventually the kids are like, "What's going on? Like, what's up?" Everybody's hitting me like because I'm with the fans. I'm like, "Yo, what's up?"
mix,
Like
yeah.
I'm with the homies.
This is at the theater.
Yeah, this is at the theater, you
Right.
know, and we're waiting, and then Jamie shows up with this kind of crazy look on his face, and he's like, "The premiere's canceled."
What?
I'm like, and those words I could not comprehend. They did not compute in my brain.
Yeah.
Wow.
The video's not here, and the premiere's not happening. Like, no, like yes, it is. Like,
Yeah.
and I'm wasted, you know.
Right.
So I'm like, I just blow up.
You
I
blew
just
up.
go off, you know, and I just start going off on Ed and going off on Jamie
Oh
and
my
all this.
God.
I just went. I don't remember it, to be honest with you. I remember partying up to the point, and I remember tripping out, but I don't remember what I said. I don't remember what I did. All I remember is Cream Campbell like grabbing me and kind of like, "Come on, bro, like come on," and like took me away. I
Okay.
kind of have that memory, and then I remember waking up the next day and going, "What happened last night?" You know.
Yeah. Did I watch my
gosh.
Did I watch my part?
I was
what?
like, what happened last night, you know? And then at some point, Ed called me and was like, I hate to do this. I'm really sorry, but we're going to kick you off the team.
Wow.
And I was like, like my whole world just collapsed
Crashed.
at that point, you know? And I'd kind of known how sensitive the skateboard industry is. I saw it happen with a few different people.
Okay.
And so I was thinking like, man, like this might have been the one mistake that just cost my whole career.
Ruined you.
Yeah.
Because we've seen it happen.
Sure.
It happens to people. You mess up, you mess with the wrong person in the industry and you're done.
You don't get
You're
another
like,
opportunity.
Nope. And so I was really worried at that time.
Did he give you a reason? Did he replay the night and been like, "Hey,
He was
dude,
just
you
like-
really like you went off the deep end"?
From what I remember, he was just like, nobody can talk to me like
Right.
that. Not in a cocky way, just like
In a disrespectful-
Yeah,
Yeah.
like I can't be disrespected like
Yeah,
that and
yeah.
allow
As
that
a human-
type of
as a human.
that type of
And in
behavior.
public, too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
to happen, and he kicked me off, and so, and then this part's another iffy part,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I kind of remember then like a week later or something they were talking about allowing me to stay on the team.
Oh.
But at that point, I had started. I'd befriended Tom Penny through that time period, and we became close homies during that filming, all that stuff and
Oh,
everything.
sick.
And somehow it came up, and it was like I had the potential to possibly get on Flip, and
Oh,
I was
whoa.
like. Peace out, you know what I mean? Like I'm getting on Flip, and I thought that was like such a cool idea.
Yeah.
That like to have like the first American rider be on Flip because it was all foreign riders,
international.
and I thought it'd be like it was such a cool piece to the puzzle that would have like kind of brought it full circle in a way. I was really hyped on the idea. I was so hyped on it. But the financial aspect of it wasn't great.
Interesting.
And then I got a call from Tony Biolos from Shorty's.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
And he was like, "I'm sending you a plane ticket. Come to Santa Barbara like tomorrow." And I was like, "This sounds interesting." You know, Shorty's was the shit.
Shorty's was
I was
cracking
like,
then.
it wasn't Shorty's
It was a
skateboard.
bolt,
Yeah,
bolt
it was-
It was
company.
a bolt
Bolts and
company, but
backpacks.
they were the coolest thing. Like,
Oh, they had
you know,
Rosa, they had every- yeah, it was great.
Every cool pro in the world rode for them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, so I was like, I want to go check what this dude got out.
Always take the meeting.
Yeah, I want to see what he has to say.
Yeah.
Always take the meeting.
Always take
I
the
like
meeting.
that. I like that, and it's
Yeah.
words I still live by to this day.
100%.
Yeah, And so next thing I know, I'm like on some like rickety little airplane, like
Oh, no.
one of those like,
Jeez, the little
like
propellers.
propeller ones. And I'm like from San Diego to Santa Barbara, you know, and I'm flying there and it's all turbulence. I'm like, oh great, I'm going to die on
Yeah.
this stupid airplane, like trying to get this deal, you know?
Should have gone with Flip.
And then I get there and we just really bonded, you know,
Okay.
and he started talking about this vision and building this company and all this stuff. And this is what I had just seen Jamie do, you know? And so I seen Jamie, I was like, whoa, because even though he just did that with Toy Machine, he was kind of planting the seeds for Zero at that time too.
Oh,
it was sort of
yeah.
like a little clothing company
Yep.
at first originally. But even I just from watching it, I was like, okay, this is my shot. Like I have an opportunity to do my thing. Like I
Yeah.
can help build a team. I can help be a part of the creative aspect of it. And it doesn't have to be Ed's vision or Jamie's vision,
Right.
or Deacon and Fox's vision. You know, like this
You
was
finally
something
get your real
new.
schoolyard pick.
Yes. Yes. Disaster
Yes,
Skateboards
disaster.
was born.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Uno had already come out at this point, right?
Yes.
Uno
yes.
Transworld video.
Yes.
Gotcha.
Yes. Yeah,
Okay.
that came out. So that I had some momentum.
You had a
going
little
for
bit-
sure.
yeah, you had magazines
Yeah, like I
and-
said, it went pretty fast.
Right.
You know, like it was like literally pretty much. I remember we went on this tour with Toy Machine and Foundation, which I ended up in Boston.
Yep.
Okay.
We got a lot of stories there.
Yeah.
I don't know if some of them should be. No. We'll keep some of those from
Right.
for a different show. But Panama Dan, yeah.
There you go.
But yeah, so we did this tour across the country.
Okay.
It was like a 3-month tour, and literally like by the time I got back, it went from like being kind of like a nobody to like pretty blown up, like in that 3-month time period, which is strange for like a non-internet era.
Yeah.
To be able to have something for that to happen that
'Cause there's
fast.
Like
no
an
way-
overnight sensation.
Also, there's no way to gauge it too. You know, it's not like you have like, oh, Muska's got 1 million followers. It's like this. It's all.
It's like real, like you call it clout, but it's like you really have everyone's eyes were on you, and you didn't have
It's-
numbers to show, but everyone knew.
Everybody.
Because what I always did, like I said, I was a partier. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like I came from like connecting with, like I was so excited. Like being on the road was like we were staying in the worst hotels, and like I was in the back of the van drinking 40s. Everybody's making fun of me, like you know, like I was like, but I was like living the
loving it.
dream.
Yeah.
Like I was like, that was like what the equivalent to
You weren't
like a
sleeping on the beach.
5-star hotel, and you know,
You were
and so
fulfilling the
every
dream.
town I went into. I was before it was fulfilled. But every town I went into, I went straight after the demo. All the pros were like, let's go to the hotel and like chill and this and that. I was like, peace, I'm out. Homies, what's up? What's going on here? Where's the scene? What do you guys do? Let's go skate street. Let's go
Right.
to the party. Show me what you guys do here. So every place I went to, I connected with, 100 people in every place. Tight experience with all those people.
Yeah.
Every single place. And that's it wasn't contrived. That's just what I did.
That's what you-
And
that's you-
and
who
I
you are.
still
Yeah.
like to do that to this day. Not as much, but but yeah, but still, like I like it. I'm curious. I love to I have experience.
Well, that's
you
the
know?
best part about skateboarding. No matter where you are in the world, you can go somewhere and get to see it through the eyes of those locals.
Yep.
Just by connecting
Yep.
with them.
Yep.
You know, you're not a tourist. You don't have to go to the
Exactly.
front desk and be
Yes.
like, "Where's a good place to eat?"
Yeah.
You're going to to their places.
Yeah, I've conversated that on that topic many times.
amazing.
Of how that, we're able to experience every place we go to through the eyes of a local.
Yep.
Not many people get that to do that.
Yeah, so I got back from that tour and I showed up at the Huntington Park, I remember, and I like look over and I was like, whoa. Like I was like, this dude's got like cargos, a backpack, and a wife beater, and a beanie cap. You know? And I was like, that's crazy, man. That's like I didn't know that people wore that. You know?
Yeah.
And then he came up and asked for my autograph, and I was like, whoa! Like I was like,
Oh, that was me.
Yeah, sure was.
sick. And I realized he was wearing that because he was hyped on
Yeah.
me. And I was like, whoa, that's like, I was baffled by it. I didn't realize, and like I said, it was pretty much from that point on where like things happened very, very fast right after that.
Right.
And it just kept happening and happening.
Well, the Shorty's meeting. I mean,
Yeah.
you went from Toy Machine getting kicked off to flying up to Santa Barbara.
Yep.
And meeting with him, everything went well. how long after that meeting did Shorty Skateboard start?
Like right away.
Right away.
Like not even a week. I don't think I was signing that contract. He showed me the money. I said, it's on.
Who was your first?
The first real paycheck I ever got was from Tony.
Was
for
from
sure.
Seriously?
I mean, before that, I got like maybe $500 the most. Here and there,
even for being pro for Toy Machine.
Yeah,
Small, okay.
Yeah, and so that I was hyped on that. Don't get me wrong. I thought I was like Charlie Watson paid me my first $100 bill for Maple.
Okay.
He gave me a $100 bill, and I was like, I'm rich.
Right.
I was so hyped. There's a whole other story associated with that
amazing,
one. But like, there's so many stories.
Sure.
They're funny. You want to hear that one? No.
Well, I want to know too, because I want to know who your first pick was, because I know wasn't Sammy Baptista and Jesse on already?
So yes. So
and you had to vouch. You had to like give your blessing.
Pretty much. Yeah. Yeah. He was like, you got to check out these two kids. And he showed me them, and I was like, "Oh, they're rad. They're Santa Barbara locals. They're connected to the scene there, the community, the history and roots of what Shorty's is."
Mm-hmm.
And they were so young that they were like had so much time to develop, and they were insanely
sick.
Rad skaters too.
Yeah.
And I met them, and we like they were cool kids too. Like we instantly bonded. And so I was like. They were kind of on by default, but I still like if I didn't like them, I would have said no.
Sure,
for sure, I would have said like no. And then the first rider I can't honestly remember, but I just know that like through the Toy Machine Foundation tours, I had been skating with Steve Olson a lot, and he quickly became one of my favorite humans in the world.
Okay,
like and best friends as well too. And just like I was like. Steve, like, if you want to ride for us, man, like, I would like, I didn't want to steal him, but I just remember saying, like, I would love to have you on the team.
Doors open.
And I can't remember what happened exactly, but somehow he decided to, which was a shock to me because he was a pretty gnarly, heavily foundation guy and loyal sponsor to foundation. I'm pretty sure that was his only other sponsor ever before that.
I mean, Steve Olson's amazing.
Hell yeah,
he's
dude.
still, huh?
Steve to this day is just like the most unique, magical human beings that exists, and his skateboarding is a reflection of that person who he is.
Do you talk to him still at all?
Yeah,
or?
we still talk. Yeah, not all the time. He's a rapper, Crazy Monk. You can get his CDs. You can find him on Facebook. I don't think he's on Instagram. But he's like a conscious rapper, backpack conscious rapper. And he came through. They were doing a tour. It was a pretty trippy tour. He was with like a conspiracy theorist, a yoga instructor, and his rap performance. And they would go on tour and do these like things. And he was like, they did something in Venice where they just, the guy he had books and he would talk about his book or sell his book and talk about the conspiracies. And then the other yoga guy would be giving yoga instructions and little classes on there. And then Steve would be freestyling.
And not all at the same time, right? It would just be a little.
I think so. And then I had all three of them in my house, pretty much doing it all at the same time too.
They didn't stop.
Wow.
It was pretty interesting. I was like, what the hell is going on here? But, all right, I'm just going to go along with this. But yeah, so all at the same time, I was also skating with Brandon Turner and Peter Smolik. And they did a company called Voice with Sloshbach. And their videos were just next level. Like for that time in skateboarding, they were like the other Plan B pretty much.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
They
There
were
was like
down.
Plan B, and there was this company Voice that not a lot of people knew about and was pretty underground, but I was aware of it, and I was skating with them in person, and I was like, Smolik is next level. He's one of the illest. He's just on some other style skating that I had never even like saw, and then Brandon Turner was just like the golden child, you know what I mean? Who was like all these flip tricks down big sets of stairs and tech on ledges. He did it all, and he was such a cool little kid. And I was just like, those are my guys. Like those two guys there has to be them. It has to be them. And I remember I got Brandon Turner on first, because they were pretty loyal with Voice as well too. Like I don't know if it was the relationship with Sloshbach, because he filmed them all the time, or I don't know exactly what it was, but he didn't want to do it. And somehow eventually I got Little B on first, and then eventually Peter came as well too, and then that was like the initial main squad. I had met Aaron Snyder just skating randomly in Mission Beach, and we just somehow, I don't know if he lived by me or what, but we started skating together like a lot, and that was like right when Shorty's was forming, and right before it was forming. Like, we would just skate together all the time in Mission Beach, which was like, I don't even remember how we met or why, but we were skating a lot, and we would skate this one school that had like this like steep little bank to bench. It was like this weird spot, and we just were skating a lot together. And I just kind of started giving him boards, and eventually I was like, yeah, and I put Snyder on the team too. And then I don't know how I met Tone.
Like Huntington Park or something, or
that could have been. It could have been the Huntington Park, yeah. Cause
he was like a local around.
Yeah,
there.
it must have been. I don't remember how I met him, but somehow I crossed paths with him, and I was like, this dude's super sick too, you know. And am I missing anybody from them? That's the original
That's
squad.
a squad.
Yeah, that was the original.
I mean, what a great team, though.
Yeah.
You put together a fucking...
Yeah, and
An
amazing,
A-team.
amazing first video too.
Bro.
Yeah, and so then that was like, I mean, just the coolest times for myself, because
Right.
it was like the owner of the company, Tony, was just so cool, and like we were all just like a family, and we were just having fun, and I think that came across within the videos, and everything we were doing was pure fun.
100%.
There was like nothing was thought out. Like nothing was like. It was just all freestyle, like, you know, like something would happen that day and be like, that was so funny, like make that a t-shirt or make that a graphic, or that's going to be the ad.
Yeah.
Or, you know, and Tony's a marketing genius too. Like, he's just like, he was so talented at what he did.
Okay.
He was a visionary. And then Ape, his ex-girlfriend, was very talented on computers. And she was the type of person that could kind of just learn anything.
Okay.
So he was like, would conceptualize all this stuff, and then she would like put it together and
turn it into
create
something.
stuff. She edited Fulfill the Dream, and she'd never edited a video before, never touched a video editing program till
Really?
like a week before that.
Oh, wow.
And she did edited that whole video.
No way.
And with our guidance of what we wanted to
course.
see,
Yeah, of
but
course.
none of us knew how to run the program.
Yeah.
I heard Snyder was saying, he's like, dude, there are tricks in that video that I wanted in there that didn't make it. Like he's like he wasn't a part of the editing process or something like that.
Maybe Snyder got left out.
There was something along those lines.
He was like, Snyder got a lot of flack from like the whole team. Like they were kind of hard on him for some reason.
Really?
Like, yeah, like maybe because he wasn't like the
He wasn't a
hardest
partier.
Yeah,
Yeah.
You know, he was kind of his
More-
own. He was such a like technical skater, and like, you know,
Clean
like,
cut.
He was
Yeah.
always my homie. I got nothing but
yeah.
mad
We
love for Aaron.
skated
Like,
with him back
Aaron's
here.
the homie. He's
Yeah.
such a great guy. And looking back at his stuff, even I almost like notice how crazy it is more now
Seriously.
than I did at that time, even because I think I was really like into like handrails and hubble edges and bigger things.
Right.
So I was like, oh, this guy's the tech guy. Like I loved it, and that's what with the whole team. I didn't want like a repetition of the same thing. I wanted each person to bring something new to the
Right.
table and offer their own little perspective, but still had to be tight, you know?
Yeah.
But the other guys were pretty hard on him. I remember.
That's
like,
amazing.
You know?
It's so funny, dude.
And they were hard on George and the guy, the team manager,
Oh, really?
man. They were so hard on George, man. Like,
Well,
and
they
George
were all
is the-
kids too,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
I mean,
all
they were,
kids.
yeah.
And George is just the nicest, best guy, and just such a rad homie, you know. And like he would just be so mellow and calm and cool, collective, and just trying to like pull it together and make the tour work. And you know, we'd be in the back of the car getting all wasted. And he'd be like, knock, 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 and it'd be like Sammy Baptista would be like tapping the seatbelt metal thing against the glass. It'd be like tap, 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 tap.
Oh my
and
God.
Smog would be like throwing shoes from the back, and like, you know, like we were just wilding
Just
out, like just
terrorizing.
like going crazy, you know. And but he was always held it together. There was only a few times I think where he actually got mad, from what I remember. But man, yeah, but they were great times, you know. And
Let me tell you something, man. That fulfilled a dream. I always joke about it on the show. I always tell people that you guys riding horses was like, that made me want to be a part of Shorty's. Like,
man.
I was like, that's the family vibe, you know? Something about it.
Yeah,
I don't know.
And that
I
was,
wanna-
and a lot of that was Tony, man. Well, it was we had a bond.
Yeah.
But like he exposed us to things that we may have never been exposed to, you know? He brought us horseback riding. I'd never been on a horse, you know what I mean?
Sure.
I had my cowboy hat. I was ready.
About his spurs.
Ever since I was a little kid, I wanted to be on one.
Got his spurs out of storage.
Yeah.
Really
But I remember I was scared as hell on that horse. I was like, oh shit, like I'm on this horse, like, you know, and then my horse, like, there was like on this trail and it was like a little cliff and there was like the water going and there was this branch and it had like some berries on it and it was like sticking way out and the horse was like with his lips, he's like
trying to eat the berries.
Trying to get the berries, the dirt's like falling over the side of the canyon, you know, and he's like, it's like his hoofs, and I'm like, reverse, you know, I'm trying to, you know, figure out how to reverse it, you know, and like, but that's what, like, it was so real, like, you know, like we were like having so much fun, and there was like another time he took us out to like the Pismo Beach sand dunes, and we all got 4-wheelers, we're riding these 4-wheelers in the sand dunes, and like, you know, it was just like cool experiences that like bonded us.
But that's what I'm saying, though. It translated so well.
Yeah.
You know, we're just watching the Fulfill the Dream. It was like, oh my God, like I want to be a part of this.
That's
like
so
I have
cool.
to be a part of this.
It changed a lot of kids' lives in skateboarding.
Seriously,
that's for sure.
no.
It changed my life for sure. I think I said it in Sammy's. It was like one of those videos that you kept seeing it in the magazines, like out soon, and you would call the shop every day. You guys got the Shorty's video? But like, dude, we don't have the fucking Shorty's video. It's not out yet. And then eventually it just came out and it changed. It brought skateboarding in this new place. You know what I mean? It was really rad.
Yeah.
That's cool,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah. It really did it for me.
I mean, whenever I hear anything like that, it's like, it's just such a humbling feeling and a great feeling because of like the dedication that I did put into all these things to know that it meant something to somebody.
Yeah.
It makes it all worthwhile. You know,
100
it was worthwhile regardless, but to know that it affected people, and to this day that people are hitting me up and it inspired them to skate or get into hip hop music or, you know, all these different things that it possibly did. It's just such a great, amazing feeling.
Yeah.
I immediately bought a pair of your shoes when I saw that video. The gray ones.
Yeah.
The Muska right
Yeah,
here.
yeah.
There was the gray with like a little hint of blue.
The blue. Yeah, with the blue.
Bought those right away. That was like the first shoe that was like over $100. I want to say the skate shoe.
From what I know,
Yeah. Like changed the game.
And he was the kid that at the skate park dressed like you. Yeah.
I for sure was, dude.
Thank you, Kelly.
Hell yeah, dude.
Still dressed
I
like
love
him.
it. I love it. I love
Sick.
it.
Well, I want to know something, because I've always noticed, like, Fulfill the Dream, feedback, different videos that you've been in. Like when you go to 50/50 a rail, I notice you sometimes put your back truck on first and then set your front truck down.
Yes.
Is that something that you do on purpose, or was that just kind of how you did it?
It was just instinctual, I guess. I don't know.
Okay.
But it's definitely the way that I do it.
Yeah, I've always wondered why. Because you just see somebody 50/50, they're getting on both trucks right away, at the same time. And you like, even when you did the big hubba, you know, in the apartment building or something, like you got into 50 and then set it down into 50.
I honestly, I have no clue.
You don't know.
Why. It just,
that's
just the way it happened.
Okay.
Yeah. All my skating, I've never like thought about what I was doing really too much. I would just skate and I would just try stuff, especially the big things. Like I would just, sometimes it would be almost like I'd be blind while I was doing it. Cause I was just like,
It's better just to skate dumb.
just go for it, you know?
Yeah, kind of black out a little bit.
And then you're, oh, I'm rolling away, you know?
How crazy is that?
Or I'm laying on the ground in pain.
One of the two.
But yeah, but that's definitely my technique, the like kind of 5-0 and land.
Yeah.
And then
Settle
another
down.
one is I think I like lock it on back and front wheel on opposite sides.
Oh, the
yeah.
opposites.
Yeah.
It kind of like locks in like that.
Okay.
Like, but that wasn't, it's unintentional too. It was only
Just the
like
way you did it.
watching back video that I would kind of notice.
You notice that.
I would do that.
Well, a lot of people do
Yeah.
that now. I feel like I see like, I guess they call it a pinch. I guess you would almost say, you know,
Kind of way.
like Jamie Foy and those guys. But you're kind of the first, I feel like, to kind of start doing that.
I always loved it. I always loved it. That just because it just looks so graceful, right? You get on and you just place your front truck down. It was just so. I don't know.
think
I
maybe
like
it was
that.
maybe there was like an element of fear to it. Like I had to like test it.
Lock.
I'm testing the waters out, and then okay, I can set it down.
Yeah, like you could almost lock your back truck in and then set
Yeah.
your front down a little
Yeah.
bit. I don't know.
Yeah.
I love that, bro.
Thank you.
How was it, dude? You grinded the rail down here. I walked by it the other day at the in Santa Monica.
the Gons rail.
Gons rail.
Yeah, yeah.
How did you come across trying that one?
Oh man, we used to skate Venice a lot. You know what I mean? And I think one day we were just like driving to go to Venice, and it was like a lot of traffic or something, and we ended up I just turned down that street, and I just was like, that's the Gons rail. Oh my God, you know?
And you just jumped out and did it.
I can't remember if it was the same day or that I first found it, or if it
Okay.
was later. But yeah, that's still one of my favorite.
It was definitely
tricks.
an homage to Gons.
Oh, yeah,
because you had that in the video.
Yeah.
Dreamer music makers
yeah.
and stuff. It's
Yeah.
amazing.
Gons. I mean, he's my all-time favorite.
Right.
Probably everybody's.
Seriously.
Nodis and Gons for street skateboarding and the origins of it. And
Yeah.
I always think that's important to remember things too, and look at Mark, man, still going to this
Crazy.
day, still the best at everything he does. It's like such a savant, I guess, or I don't know, is that a word for it? Savant kind of?
Yeah.
He's just the master at anything he wants to do.
Yeah, man.
I love Mark. I idolize him in a lot of ways.
I think everybody does.
Yeah.
Going back. Oh, go ahead.
I was going to ask, so did you make the song in that part too?
Yeah. For the Fulfill a Dream?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the first beat that I ever produced.
Oh,
Wow.
Yeah, so like I had been toying around, and me and my friends were always like into DJing and graffiti and breakdancing and all the elements of hip hop culture pretty much growing up. But I never had a drum machine or any type of equipment. And so from some of the money I got from skateboarding, I was eventually able to get some of the equipment and made a beat. And that just happened to be the first beat I made.
that was the first one you made.
It's long and monotonous. It's like,
But it was cool though. I liked it. Yeah.
So that was like, I had some like, I think that one, I made a beat before that on SB 1200. It was a different machine, and then I got a new machine, the MPC 2000.
Okay.
And that was like when I first started to learn how to use that. A funny thing about it was I was using it in a way that wasn't even right, like because I didn't know, I had no musical background. I still don't know how to read or write music.
Okay.
I understand MIDI sequencing, and I could visually see the notes and know how to program and what notes go with each other, but I don't know them by reading the actual notes. But anyway, I had no clue what I was doing. I got this machine, and I was sampling records into it, and I was trying to figure out how to use it. And so instead of like programming the beat like you're mainly supposed to do in that machine, I sampled the loop for the drum loop, that boom.
Okay.
So the drum beat is a sampled loop from a jazz album I had.
Okay.
And so that's a loop going, and then it was a little off. It was like a long loop. So like at one part it kind of like it loops, but it kind of like, it's like if you probably would never notice, but if you listen closely, there's one part where it's like a little bit
hiccup.
off. So later when I added the hi-hat over it, I did the hi-hat sequenced in time, and so the hi-hat is actually off. So it's like ting 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 ting, and the beat, it's off with it, but somehow it kind of works.
So the whole thing,
it's like an offbeat hi-hat that goes along with the off-centered from the drum beat itself.
Oh my God.
And then the sample was from this Korg N5 keyboard I had, so I just like two notes, just basically wah, wah.
yeah. That's it. It's amazing.
So you just like having a
I probably embedded that sound into many people's brains.
Oh,
it is. So
But
good.
a song is a huge part of a person's part. So you're saying you just made the song first try and just put it out.
Yeah. I love that.
That's amazing, dude.
I was going for it, man.
That's so
I just was
rough.
like, I guess I don't know. Like I was like, I don't even remember what the heck I was thinking, man. I just was hyped on making beats. I was like, same thing as like when I was like, I'm a tagger,
Yeah.
I'm a music producer. From that day forward, I was one,
It was my first hit. Yeah.
That's so rad.
Wow.
Yeah, I've learned a lot since then, but but I'm a firm believer in learning by doing.
Yeah.
There's only so much you can study or listen or be taught. I really enjoy
gotta practice it.
doing something.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the next one will get better, and the next one, and
I mean, it's
so on.
skateboarding in a nutshell.
100%. Everything in my life is a mirror of skateboarding, a reflection of what skateboarding taught me has applied to every single aspect of my life. No matter what it is I do, it all comes back to the confidence that skateboarding gave me.
Yes.
If I can learn this trick, I can do anything
Yeah.
in this world.
Let's talk about, we're in the Shorties era right here. So right about now, the Transworld video,
Yep.
feedback.
Yep.
Dude.
Great part, bro.
A lot of that part had to do with like the relationship with me and Ty Evans.
Yeah.
Like, we had met, and we also bonded over, because I was always a hip hop fan, but on top of hip hop, I was always really deeply into electronic music as well too. I love electronic music, and I love
Which he is in too.
Yes. I love synthesizers and drum machines, and they've always fascinated me. And coming from the rave culture back in the day, that was music I grew up listening to as well. And so I had found out around that time too about drum and bass music. A little before that, I'd found out about it, but techno kind of became this cliche thing more, and it was like, you know, Genco jeans and all that. And I'd never been that dude. I never was like a raver dude, but I went to raves. I loved electronic music, but I was never like that full on raver type kid. But later I found out about drum and bass music, and drum and bass was fusing a lot of elements of hip hop into the sound.
Right.
And then that electronic synthesizer sounds and wobbling bass and all this stuff that I was like, oh my God, this is like the coolest music I've ever heard in my life, from a producer standpoint, especially because of all the freedom you had with it. And it was a puzzle that was really hard for me to figure out how to do this music. Hip hop was pretty basic once I learned the elements of it, you know, and it was, but drum and bass had all these like, you know, sampling and speeding up the drum beat, the sample, but without changing the pitch to it sometimes. And so there was all these like chopping the loop and speeding it up. And I know all this stuff now, but at the time I had no clue how to do it. And I was like, how is the bass line going like, whoa, 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 whoa? How you wobbling the bass? I was just like, took me so long to figure out how to do all this kind of stuff, and just hours playing with synthesizers and filters and MIDI sequencing. And MIDI sequencing was the main thing that I got into. And so that's basically where you play a keyboard, and that keyboard can trigger any instrument or sound that you want to. And then when you are recording it, you get a visualization of each note when you play it and how you play it.
Okay.
So then if you press this key, it coincides with this key on the computer. And well, first was with MIDI sequencing through the MPC 2000, later into the computer.
Okay.
They both did the same thing, but the computer is where it really got tricky, next level for me, where I was able to like, then you could take...
You see the visual of it.
Yeah, then you could take... I'm a very visual person, and then you were putting a visual to what you were hearing, and then you were able to just do what you want to do with it. But not to get too much into... but so feedback.
No, I would love
feedback.
I would love to hear that.
Back
you and Ty in the van talking about this shit.
Yeah.
Like,
and Atiba too. Atiba was
Atiba.
super into electronic music, and so me, Ty, and Atiba started just skating a lot together.
Yeah.
You know, we he was shooting a lot of photos of me at that time. Ty was filming. We were originally going to hire Ty to be the Shorty's filmer. And he was just about to take the position, but then he had the opportunity to work with Girl and, you know, Spike Jones, and that was a big mentor of his. And he was like, hey, I got this opportunity. And I was like, you know, I think I might have been mad for a second, but eventually we squashed it. And our super tight homies to this day. I love Ty. He's another person where like, I respect people that have a strong work ethic and they are very passionate about what they do. So if I'm passionate about my skateboarding and I'm like putting it on the line and throwing myself off a second story building or whatever it is I'm doing, like I want to know that the person filming it is just as equally as hyped on documenting it and are pushing themselves as much as I'm pushing myself on my skateboard. And Ty was always that guy to me.
That's Ty.
And I was always interested in technology and how it was advancing and how this can apply to the filming techniques we were doing and stuff. And so we were really bonded over technology. And that applied to the music software, and then there was the editing software, and then the camera equipment and the synthesizers. So like it was a really cool relationship that we had, and feedback was the result of that.
Well, he was always pushing the envelope. He was always like, that video is cool, but I'm going to make a better video and with the better equipment and better everything.
Still is,
right? Guys just fucking helicopters and shit.
They got a space shuttle. He's renting
he's going up in SpaceX. But also too, I love the part where in Anthology, where Ty was talking about, you know, your part and how you guys went to Arizona, and there was this one day where you just went and got like 40 tricks in a day. You just started in the morning and ended in the morning, and you
I love
just
how it's become 40 tricks. I'm gonna run with that.
it's 40 tricks. Trust me, it's 40.
They just all weren't in the video.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
Like, you know.
No, but you know what I mean, though. It's like I love these like behind the scenes stories of like, dude, we went here, then we got that, then we got that, and he went here, and he wasn't even done. He saw this rail out there, which became the cover of Forecast and
It's like half
a feedback. I'm sorry.
yeah.
You know, it's just like I'm like,
Well,
wow,
that video-
that's incredible.
When that video actually came out, we had no idea that that's what happened in one day.
That's what I'm saying.
You know,
Yeah,
it's like
yeah.
hear that like was it like a year later or something that happened? Was
Yeah.
like back then or now you hear that in a day.
That's why he's wearing the same clothes the entire time.
Yeah. No, it's incredible, dude. And that just goes to show like your passion and your work for, and then Ty was right along with you. Like Ty probably would have gone 48 hours without sleeping if you wanted to. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And then he would have stayed up a couple extra hours to edit.
to edit it too. Yeah,
You know?
yeah.
Was that like when you skated that day? You kind of just went to every spot randomly, didn't know what you were skating.
I knew of spots in Arizona.
Yeah.
Like some of them though, like a couple of spots, like I'd only seen like when I was a kid almost, and I like remembered them, but I didn't even know if they were like fully skatable or not. So like Arizona's a pretty like long spread out area too. So like we were like, it was the fact that we got all those areas in one day is pretty like pretty heavy as it is. So, but like, no, it was like, I think that pool, we randomly found it where we started, and then like the roof gap. And I mean, there's like a whole bunch of stuff that day, but it was all just one of those like days where it just like everything came
Just
together.
happened.
Yeah, it was definitely a magical day for sure.
Right, right.
I wish every day was like that. but if every day was like that, it wouldn't be as magical.
Oh
right?
no, for
That's
sure.
true. That's true. So that's kind of like how you do. You just kind of, I mean, I'm sure some tricks you have plans for, you know, like, oh, I want to go to this hubba and everything. But I mean, just on a regular basis, you're kind of just going out and skating.
I don't think I ever had any tricks planned.
Never had a trick
My
plan.
entire
Really?
career, I don't think.
You don't
Like,
have a
I-
Muska trick list in your phone? You know,
Never,
it's a-
never. And that's where me and Jamie kind of like started to butt heads a bit too at one point.
okay.
Because like we would be like going to a spot and he'd like, well, like, what do you want to try? And I'm like, I don't know what I want to try. I just want to skate.
Wanna
You know,
get
like,
out there and
you know,
see.
like,
Yeah.
he
he was very systematical.
Yeah. And just, or even photographers and that, like, I'd be like, we'd get to a handrail and I'd be like, okay, just get the camera. Like, you know, like, what are you going to try? I'm like, just shoot it. Like, I don't care what side I'm on, you know, like, because I
You're
would
in the
always,
moment.
I would always start with my basic tricks that I could do, and then hopefully that would lead to something more, you know.
Right.
Not that I had a whole lot of other non-basic tricks, but yeah. So,
you were just in the moment.
Yeah.
You were just skating in the moment, whatever came to you.
Because that's just what I did my whole life. So like
Yeah.
I was like, I always wanted to document it because I loved seeing the footage documented.
Yeah.
But yeah, I never like tried tricks really. Like I was never like. And I think that's why a lot of my other skating ability didn't always get caught on camera, because a lot of times if we were filming, I was like, okay, like let me just get these tricks. Like I just want to film some tricks,
Okay.
and then just skate or something, you know,
Right.
like get the pressure away. So like sometimes I was just like, you know, do my tricks I knew I could do just so I could get that photo or get that stuff. But like when we would just skate more, it would be like there's a lot more like I don't know. It's like. I don't know where I'm going with that, but yeah, I do more tricks.
Yeah,
Well,
no, it's
the one
I
trick-
do more tricks than 50-50 and tail slides, I
Hey, no,
promise.
at the wedge, you did the pop shove at nose grind. That
Yeah,
was,
yeah.
Oh my God.
I had never seen you do that one before.
yeah.
I was like,
Heck
fuck,
yeah.
got the
bro,
Costa
that was
twos on.
probably the best pop shove and nose grind I've ever seen.
Yeah, that-
like that inspired me to do pop shove and nose grinds.
Heck yeah.
Yeah.
Heck yeah.
Did one at a demo one time.
I don't think I've done one since.
Because I was like, whoa, pop shove at nose grind. Like that was kind of not your bag of tricks at that time,
Yeah.
I'd say, but that was awesome.
And this was at the point too where it was kind of like you were on S, and then you went from S to Circa.
Yeah.
But S you had like the Muska shoe.
Yeah.
With the zipper with the stash.
Yeah.
With the stash pocket.
Right
Yeah.
here. I want to ask something too, because I saw drawings at Soltech of the original shoe that you wanted.
The shell toe?
It was like a shell. You basically, it looked like you wanted a shell toe kind of at first, right?
Yeah. So I mean, being a graffiti kid, we wore shell toe Adidas with fat laces. That was kind of like my thing at that time. I loved fat laces and shell toes.
Would
Like,
they be crossed laces or
I usually went
horizontal?
straight across.
You went
yeah.
straight across.
Yeah,
okay.
horizontal.
Want to
on
make
it, yes.
sure.
I think I did both before,
Okay.
but
a weave.
Yeah. I did the checkerboard for sure. I had that one. But I would switch it up. You know, that was kind of the fun thing of Fat Laces. You could get different colors, this and that.
Sure.
But yeah, so that was my original concept, and I worked with the designer Franck. French Franck, I forgot his last name right now.
Frank Boistel. Boistel, I think.
Yeah, Frank Boistel, OG homie. Thank you for helping me conceptualize the first shoe or bring to life, manifest the first shoe for me. And so I've been in, and I was very much a part of that process. You know, I from what I remember, I had drawn something on a napkin, like a sketchy version of it, brought it in, and then Franck manifested from that sketchy drawing into something that was relatable to send to the factory. But yeah, so the original one was the shell toe. You could still see some of the elements, the stitching on it, kind of represent on the toe.
Yeah,
kind of represent the idea of it being there still. And I don't remember if it was a legal issue or not. If they didn't want us to do it, or if the molding issues, or
could have been patented at that point.
I'm not
too.
sure. Yeah, there was something with it, but there was I had a pair of them that had it on it.
Oh wow!
And I wore them to Australia. I remember and skated them. I loved them. They were so sick.
Wow.
Some guy in Australia said I gave them to him, or I think maybe in Australia. I think in Tasmania, but I don't know if they're still in existence.
Dude.
Hey, what's up? If anybody has some
shell toe
Muskas, bring them on. I got to see that one.
I feel like you and Costin and a lot like Sal maybe were like, you know, you guys kind of had inspiration from basketball shoes or shoes that you already had skated in that weren't skate shoes initially.
Oh yeah, I think all of skateboarding at that time took from technical basketball or runners or different footwear because nothing else existed. We had and in footwear in general, it's like there's always a starting point to everything. It's like in music, any type of rock and roll is always going to be referenced to Led Zeppelin and The Who and Pink Floyd, and it's like footwear is kind of like that too. You know, it's like there's things that you were inspired by, but in skateboarding, I think we always definitely did it in our own way. You know? I mean, that's definitely in its own way.
This shoe's awesome.
So going from the shell toe to that one, how happy were you with that one?
I was hyped on it. There was one other thing that that little shark fin on the side.
Yeah.
Yep.
That originally carried around. It went up and above in a line around the whole back.
Oh.
But so it wasn't just like that one little piece on its own. It was like all those elements kind of flowed around.
Oh, no
Okay.
way.
And then we had an issue with the heel wasn't staying on. They had to stitch it or something. And so we ended up that was like a last minute call. So that was like one thing I was a little bit bummed on. The original design, I liked it, how it went around with it.
Okay.
Which is funny. A lot of people, I've heard them say like, I love the little shark fin
little
thing
shark
there.
fin, yeah.
You know, and then the Ollie guard, from what I remember as well too, that I drew that out and put the S logo to be like the little Ollie patch on there.
Oh.
That's just the accent over the E.
So how many shoes? You had like what, three or four shoes on a S?
No, you had one.
I thought you had a couple.
Just one.
Just one.
Or was it the Circa that you had like three or four?
I had more on that. Yeah, I had a lot on Circa.
You'd had a lot.
Yeah.
Wait, what happened with S and then going into Circa?
So
You were on it. That's for like a year.
Yeah,
Opportunity knocks.
Pretty much, when S first started, Don Brown hit me and Tom Penny up, and we're like, "Hey, we want to start this new subdivision, and we want you guys to be a part of it. Costin's going to be a part of it. Rick Howard,
Chet Thomas.
no, he wasn't part of it.
He
said he was. Yeah.
Initially, I heard that he was going to be, and then he didn't. It didn't happen. It was like for one day.
Oh, I never heard that.
Yeah.
I don't, well, at least I don't remember it.
Okay, yeah.
Paul Sharp. And Bob Burnquist. Those were like the initial from what I remember.
Okay.
Could be missing somebody, but that's what I remember, being the first squad. But I remember they approached it to be like, it was kind of like me and Tom's thing. Like, and me and Tom were super tight at that time.
Yeah.
And that was like the initial kind of allure, like the sounded so rad, like we could do stuff. And then it was kind of like that shoe came out and it was really successful. But I still wasn't making like really like a lot of money there, which seemed a little weird to me.
Yeah, shoe company with your own shoe.
It was selling good.
I made money like for them. I made more money off that than I did anything at that time. Period. But then Circa approached me. Well, before Circa, it was they did it was a snowboard company.
Forum.
They did Forum snowboards and Foursquare outerwear and Special Blend and Genius, I think it was, and they had a cool like aesthetic like from what they were doing.
Yeah.
And it, it's kind of like Shorties of snowboarding kind of.
Yeah.
And like had some like elements of like drawers and dub kind of mixed in, and so they were doing some cool cut and sew stuff. I liked the quality of the products that they were making, and they pretty much offered me a lot of money, and he was like, here's a gnarly deal for you. We want you to be the star of this thing. We want you to put it together. And so then all of a sudden, from doing the Shorties thing, and building that and being a part of it, everything, all of a sudden I was offered the same idea within footwear.
Right.
And I was like, oh my gosh, which was even more exciting for me because I had been about fashion and style and things like I was ghetto and I didn't have a lot of money, but I always liked to have my own personal style and
sure.
I was interested in that stuff. From a little kid, I would go to thrift stores and get random stuff and chop it up and try to make things my own.
Sure.
Not having money forced me to be creative in different ways in order to have something that I thought was cool and try to fit in in my own way. And I think that negative turned into a positive for me in life because I was able to apply it to designs and I had these visions in my head.
Right.
And then Circa was like free for all. Do whatever you want, work with these designers, worked with Persuade, ill designer and graffiti artist and artist in general, graphic designer, Nico, my OG homie Nico, who was like one of the first people I'd met in San Diego as well too.
Sick.
Evol.
Yep. He was a designer.
He's a great photographer too.
Yep, sick photographer. I never say his last name right, so Actipis, Nico Actipis. He's a great guy.
Yeah.
So it was, and then Dustin Deerdorf, another designer. So I consider myself a designer. I'm a conceptualist. I'm a creator. But without the teams that I've worked with to come up with these products, like they wouldn't have been half as good as they are. So I always like was lucky enough to cross paths with like people like Frank and Nico and Persuade and Dustin and later in life Josh Brubaker, who did the Skytop with me. And so
just talented people.
Yeah, I've crossed paths with people that were able to see the vision I saw in my head. That I'm not the best illustrator, I'm not the best drawer, but I would be able to get something close enough. But they would see what I saw, and
then
be
do
able
all
to
the
take
tech parts.
Yes, and take that and turn it into something that was real.
Yeah.
And so I thank all those guys like so much for helping me over these years to come up with these concepts, to manifest the concept. I come up with the concepts. Don't forget it, companies.
I don't think any Muska shoe has been a bad shoe. It's like everything you've done has been great, bro.
Had a pretty good run.
Yeah.
And I'm so grateful.
Even with these new ones behind you that are going to come out soon,
Don't
right?
think I'm not trying to get some free publicity over here, guys.
I mean, those are sick too, bro.
I love those, dude.
Those Supras, man.
What are those called?
So this is the Muska 2000.
Muska 2000.
Yeah.
Look at that. That's a great
So
looking shoe.
This is a hybrid between the and it's not a skate shoe, which is gonna bum most skaters out.
Okay.
Which,
Yeah.
they're
It's a good
instantly
chiller.
like, what? Oh my god!
I'm sure some people will skate in those.
Yeah, you could skate in it.
Yeah.
You definitely could. It's thick as hell. But this is like it's a hybrid between the S and the Circa shoe, the first ones, and
with the toe stripe thing.
Yeah, toe
yep,
here.
yep.
S here, S more
Okay.
on the lace loops, rubber lace loops, the zipper. This mesh, this like rubber mesh, kind of Jordan inspired at the time, was on the S as well.
What about the tongue stash?
We got a zipper.
You always got to have the tongue stash.
Yeah, this is still a sample, so there's some minor changes that will.
It's legal nowadays, though. Sometimes you don't really need the stash anymore.
Yeah.
Wait, I want to ask.
Money.
That was a big thing back then.
Oh, dude.
yeah.
That was a big major selling point. It tripped parents out.
Oh, yeah.
That I was a kid and my mom was like, "What is that?"
It's for your keys.
It's
It's
for
for
your
your
coins.
keys.
Yeah.
Your money.
Didn't you see the CCS?
They're like kangaroos.
Where am I going to put my change when I skate? No, but I'm not a shoe guy, and that's a great looking shoe. I got to tell you, man, I would wear that in a heartbeat.
Thank you. And this is kind of like my backlash at like high fashion right now. So I feel like skateboarding's obviously taken from fashion over the years and music culture and it's been a full circle kind of give take from all elements.
Yeah.
But we've definitely seen in recent times like a lot of high fashion and different streetwear companies taking from skateboarding culture, and they're really capitalizing off of it. And for me, and it's also an idea I had years ago that the timing was off to bring this style back before it was even kind of happening. I'd kind of seen that it was going to happen. But for a few different politics and reasons, I wasn't able to create it at that time.
Gotcha.
But right now, I think it actually ends up being the perfect time anyway. So this is like, it's not a skate shoe, but it is. It has the skate history and the lines, and it's offering something that's like hopefully can sit up in there with some of these high fashion things in these chunkier shoe categories that. It's like if they're gonna take something from us, I want to reverse that process and put something in that world as well too. So and my interests have always been way outside of skateboarding as well too. Skateboarding is the backbone to everything I do, but it's not my limitation. It's not the end of my interest in life. And I've always been interested in fashion and design, and I love manifesting these visions in my head. And at the end of the day, that's all these projects are to me, is think of an idea and seeing it become a physical reality.
You can hold it in your hand. It's incredible.
You can hold it, you can watch it, you can look at it on a wall, you can listen to it. Whatever that the medium is doesn't matter. It's just getting it out and creating and not just going like, hey, I thought about this, I thought about it and I did it. Yeah. So that's what all these things are for me.
I'm gonna tell you something, man. We had Caballero on the show, Steve Caballero. And we were talking about the half cab. I never owned a pair.
Yeah.
After the show, I went and bought a pair.
Nice.
I was so hyped on them.
Nice.
I think I might go buy a pair of those.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I like it.
I hope you get some good royalties. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to put some money in your pocket, Muska.
Thank you.
Thank
The ones he's wearing are pretty awesome.
The colors
those are great.
You're rocking right now are awesome.
Should I bring these?
Bring them out, bro. Bring them out.
These ones are sick.
I personally like those ones more.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, those are good. The white and the blue and the red.
They're a little bit dirty, but hey, you got to wear them. You got to wear them too. No, these ones are hard right here. So
okay, I'll buy
this
both.
One's November. That one comes out, so we still got a little bit of time.
Okay, the gray one,
Yeah, the
November.
November, and that'll be really, really limited, small run.
Chad, I got to get my hands on it, bro. How am I going to?
We might have you taken care of.
Okay, good. I'm 10 and a half.
Prepaid up front.
I'll prepay. Listen,
I'm sample size. I'm sample size over here.
I will PayPal you.
Yeah. No. So that's like kind of a version of the first Circa, the colorway. So it's kind of an ode. It's switched up a little bit, but so that's why that one kind of comes out first.
Okay.
So there's a little bit more nostalgia with that one.
I like that.
We've made colors like this in the past as well too, but this one was a little bit more of today more than.
And that comes out later than
December.
November? December.
Yeah. So.
And is that more of a broader?
Yeah. This one will be more of a broader release.
Okay, so the gray one's limited, and that one's okay.
Yeah.
I need both.
Thank
you, bro.
Little shameless self promotion right there.
I love it. No, bro, this is
good.
But it's part of my life.
It's great.
And
exactly.
And footwear is a major part of my life, and it has been for many years now. So that was about 22 or 23 years ago that I did my first shoe.
Crazy.
And I've had a shoe in the marketplace consecutively for that long.
Since then, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, and on Circa, I don't know how many are on there, but the Chomp on Kicks homies know. They know. He just selling the wind, the homie. He just posted. He finalized the whole collection, and I think it was might have been 6, 7 shoes, something, 7, maybe 7 on that.
Wow.
Yeah, so that was pretty cool, and it's so cool to see that people collect these things and they mean something to them. It's because at the end of the day they are just shoes. It's just shoes, it's just clothing, it's just skateboards, it's all stuff. Yeah. But obviously, it's much more than that to all of us. It's a time in our life. It's something that's
exactly. It's a time in our life.
It's a little time capsule. Yeah. You see these things and they make you remind you of these times and you remember and you then maybe even parents now can share these moments with their children. This is what we had when we were a kid, and here's a board that I used to ride, and maybe they go out and get boards together and skate together, and
they brought a special feeling to us at one point, you know what I mean? So you always reflect back to that moment, you know.
Well, also too, a lot of people now are trying to go and search out their first board, and buying it on eBay and putting it together and having that recreation of their first it's nostalgic.
Yeah.
You know, it's
Yeah.
like who you are. It made you who you are today.
Yep, I owe my life to all of it, or and my livelihood. It's a major part of it, but I definitely like don't create those things. I don't create these things just for money. I create them because I have a passion for creating them.
Yeah.
And I didn't even know it until I started. I mean, like I said, I'd always been doing these things since I was a kid, and once that first shoe happened, it was like boom. I had some input on it and helped make it happen. That was successful, and then the Circa, then onto Supra.
Yep.
Which was like a whole nother chapter of like time of footwear for me, which was like insane because that really like went from skateboarding to like the world,
The mainstream,
and it reached way outside of skateboarding, and that was something I was always very proud of. That because I've always had that vision too. Like I said, like I don't want it just. I love skateboarding to death, but like I think that's the problem with a lot of skaters is that they have this idea that like if you do something outside of skateboarding, it's lame.
Right.
And I think it's such a bad mentality to have because skateboarding is not going to equate to money for everybody, not even every pro.
Sure.
And it's not going to last forever for everybody.
Oh, yeah.
So like all skaters should have an open mind entering into skateboarding. They should. And even if they're not going to make it as a pro, there's also so many other things you can do even within skateboarding.
Yep.
Like you can be a photographer, you can be a graphic designer,
Yeah.
you can be a sales rep, you could be a computer engineer or a web developer.
You could be a lawyer for a brand.
You could be a lawyer for a brand. I mean, there's endless amounts of things that you can do to still continue your love for skateboarding, but you have to think more than just skateboarding. You have to know that the world is much bigger.
Yeah.
Like I was saying earlier in the interview, not having an academic background has been a very big challenge for myself. And if I didn't take it upon myself to go and learn all these other things and dedicate myself and spend time, I may have been already washed away by
Ghost,
now and
yeah.
done. And who knows what would have happened.
Right.
And so it's scary because skateboarding there's no guarantees with it. And at any moment it can end. And so that's why like, even though I'm still heavily involved with it and this is all products within skateboarding, I still feel that like at this point, these shoes aren't in the market only because of my skateboarding career.
Right.
These shoes are in the market because I'm part of designing them and I'm just as much of a designer as I am a skateboarder. And so I think that that's like something smart for all skaters to think about, like what is next. And it doesn't even have to be what's next, what's happening as well now with what I'm doing with skateboarding.
Right.
What else can I study? What else can I be interested in? What else can I do if my ankle's hurt to then sit around and only play video games? You know, like
Yeah.
use your mind, put it to something. I was always doing it, but it took me, it wasn't until later in life that I realized it, you know? I was like, oh, okay. Like, and that came from becoming sober. I was able to actually able to stop and analyze and think about life and think about things and live in clarity and go, okay, like here's, this is what I'm doing. This is what I did. Wow. What can I do with this now?
There's a bigger picture.
Yeah.
Damn.
How long you been sober?
I haven't drank for 7 years.
7 years.
Yeah.
Congrats, bro.
And then I would smoke weed a little bit here and there when I first started becoming sober. And then, but I'm completely sober now.
It's amazing.
For years now. Yeah.
Great, bro.
Many years.
Well,
yeah.
Congrats, dude.
Yeah.
I love it.
And I don't like preach it or anything like that. Like it's not like I'm not one of those types of dudes that like, oh, like everybody has to be sober or anything like that because certain people can have a drink and be fine. I'm not one of those people, you know?
Yeah.
What was going on this night?
Oh, is it
Oh man, there it is. It was a sci-fi fantasy.
Muska with Paris Hilton and who else is that?
My homegirl Nicole Lenz.
Okay.
Yeah. And you know, I don't even know how that damn picture got out, but it's the picture that like won't go away. I'm seriously like, I don't know.
You got to embrace
Well, that's
it,
because
man.
you're friends with Paris, right?
Yeah, she's my homegirl, man. Like,
That's sick.
I was just there at their house 2 days ago.
Yeah, I saw that photo. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Yeah, Paris
Were you
and
dating at the
Nikki.
time?
No, we're just friends.
So you would hang out with her a bunch back then. You guys would party a lot.
Yeah, so I kind of like I put on the post like a couple days ago, because I don't see her that much anymore because I'm pretty low key nowadays. But she got a new house, invited me to come over to a barbecue. I guess it was Saturday. Yeah, and 2 days ago, yeah. But yeah, I randomly moved in this house up Kings Road, and like I just looked outside of my house, and across the street were these two cute girls, and I was like, "Whoa, who are these girls?" Like, you know, and it was Paris and Nikki. I didn't know who they were. I never heard of them at that time. Like, I guess they were famous socialites at that time, but I'd never knew of them. And we just became friends and just started kicking it, and ended up kicking it really, really hard for like a long time, and on some like crazy life experiences for me, being this like kid that came from a trailer park to like, you know, all of a sudden jumping on private jets and like yachts and going around the world with all these celebrities and like up in these crazy clubs. And the club scene was different back then, you know what I mean? It was like, I mean, literally like, you know, crazy celebrities just chilling, you know, Mick Jagger and Prince and Mike Tyson, and I don't even know who else was there, but like they were all there, and it was like, you know, a bit blurry, but yeah, I love those girls, and that's my homie. And that image, gosh, I wish that image would go away.
Why? It's good.
Well, it's cool. You can look at it now. You're like, I'm glad that's done with.
That's true. That's true.
I guess it's a reminder of where I could be.
That's right. That's right.
That was at a club in New York City. I do remember the place. What was that? Yeah. I remember the club.
That's amazing.
Tossed back right there. Don't do the zoom in. It's the Mimi that just will not die. Is it a Mimi or a meme?
Mimi.
Mimi.
I like Mimi better.
It's a Mimi. See Mimi on that mug?
Right. So let's talk about Shorty's though. Like we're going to Shorty's was
popping.
It was going fucking nuts, right?
Yeah.
What happened? Why did you end up leaving?
I think it was like, it's weird because like I don't want to like point the finger at anybody really. It's hard for me to do that because it was such a beautiful time that the end almost like doesn't even matter to me anymore.
Were you burnt out though, or was it?
You know what it is that we were all so tight that eventually everybody just kind of like grew up a little bit, you know, and
started living their own lives.
Yeah, we all started going our own way a little bit, you know, and that unique sense of family kind of was lost. Even though we're all still tight, we're probably almost tighter now than we were at the end of things, kind of a bit.
Yeah,
but
it didn't feel like family anymore, right? Or it didn't feel close. You didn't feel that connection of riding horses,
and so. I mean, I don't want to point the finger again, but I think like the owner, Tony, really tried to start to take it in his own direction.
Okay.
And do things without talking to us. Where in the past it was like everybody was talking about it.
Everybody had a say.
And he kind of like moved, he was staying in Vegas a lot, and he was like just designing things, and then Guilty came out, and he had this whole concept for this like, you know, movie and this cops and all this stuff, and we were kind of like, okay, like, you know, we just wanted to skate more, I think, and we did it, and it was funny. It was like, it is what it is, you know. Right. But I remember feeling like kind of like, I don't know, man, something's not right about this. Like, like this isn't really like what I envisioned.
You didn't feel it in your gut,
Like it sounded cool to do a movie, but then we weren't really part of the script, or like it was just sort of like, here, show up and say this and do this. And then when I watched it, I remember feeling kind of like, I don't know, man, this is like, I don't know how people are gonna like perceive this really.
Like you went from like Fulfill the Dream, where it was all spontaneous stuff, to this like scripted thing.
Yeah.
And you're like, this isn't really it's not even your vibe.
Yeah.
Like, you don't even go out and skate structured.
Yeah.
You go out and skate just how you're feeling.
Yeah. And so like, it was weird because part of the allure was cool because it was like, oh, we're getting this like real movie director, and like it's gonna be like, you know, in our eyes, you know, we were like, maybe it could be in a movie theater, or like, you know, like we were really excited about it. But then I think like the closer it came to, as it happened and we were filming, and as the editing was coming, it kind of became more secretive with the editing too. And then that whole thing happened, and it was kind of like, I was hyped on it. It was fun and stuff, but it was like, it wasn't the same, you know? And then I started partying a lot. That's kind of where partying took over. I started to get money. I was introduced to the Hollywood scene.
Right.
I was over there on the mug.
Yeah, you were over with Paris Hilton and he wants that back up on the shelf. He turned it around too.
Sorry, Jerry.
It's a white mug now.
Sorry, Jerry.
Just
you know, that's when like, I think the the persona that I had put out there and this like image that like everybody started to think I was started to take over more of who I actually was.
Interesting.
And it was like, and all of a sudden there was this like, I had to be the Muska, you know what I mean, or whatever.
You had to skate around with the boom box and the whole thing.
And it was like the Escalade and the jewelry and the this and that and I think like, I don't know if I subconsciously was starting to question all of it, but like for whatever reason, well, before that, I was definitely living it up.
Well, I was going to say, you were kind of playing into it as well.
Yeah, and I was like, and that I had that opportunity to like, you know, this kid from nowhere who had fantasized about all these dreams of like being in Hollywood and watching a Tom Petty video. And you know, like
sitting on the
all
curb.
of a sudden it was real. Like, and I'm like in the club and, you know, and it's like Lindsay Lohan and the Olsen twins. And I'm like, on my arm around all of them. And I'm like, yeah, these are my girls. And, you know, and like, I was like, I'm the king. You know what I mean? Like, and there was no skaters in there at that time. I was like the skater. Like,
no skaters could get in there.
And I wasn't trying to get any of them in there. Right. I'm a nice guy and all, but I was like, this is my moment.
This is your
like,
shit, yeah.
You know, like,
For me.
But it was glorious.
You were riding the wave.
Yeah,
man.
yeah. And I was having a blast, but like any wave, there's a crash.
It is,
and when you're partying hard, it's gonna catch up to you.
Yeah.
And it started to. And I made some good money off skateboarding, but I also didn't pay taxes a lot. All of a sudden, the tax man hit me. Boom! I owed like a lot of money, a lot of money. And I thought I was like set for life at this point, and I pretty much, you know, had to write everything gone, you know, like a lot of money.
Pay your taxes, kids.
Yes, pay your taxes, skaters, pay your taxes,
and
everybody.
That's something that they don't teach you.
No,
Oh,
they
hell
don't
no.
want to teach you that.
They just give you a check, they don't know. They don't tell you like, hey, pay the tax man. They just give you a check. And you're like, oh, cool.
They gave me a bag of Skittles and like, you know, only eat 3/4 of the Skittles.
Yeah.
No.
I mean, the whole bag.
So I made, and I didn't come from money, so I didn't have, like, my parents couldn't guide me financially. And I was invincible in my mind. I was like, you know, I'm on top. I'm always going to be on top. Like, I'm going for it, you know. I'm like in Hollywood with, you know, I'm at Michael Jackson's house this week. I'm over here, like, you know, next week with, you know, crazy stuff was going on. You know what I mean? Like that, like, I felt like if I'm around all these, you know, Leonardo DiCaprio and this, you know,
I'm gonna get in a movie.
Like, I thought I was gonna be in a movie. I thought I was gonna have a hit record. I was like, I made it, and I'm famous. Like, you know, and I was speaking of that a little bit earlier. That fame is a drug. Fame is a crazy drug, and I was riding it. And like I said, that crash did start to happen. The money started to slow down. I wasn't putting out skating stuff as much. The company started to question me, like, what are you doing, man? Like, you know, what's up? Like, you haven't been around. And because I went from being in the office all the time to just being in the club and then not skating very much anything. I was like hungover for many years almost, you know, and had a blast doing it. But then I started to have kind of like a bit of a reality check. And then that's kind of when I came back and then got on Element.
Okay.
So I'd quit Shorty's, which was like I don't know how I got from there to there, but like the night that I officially quit Shorty's was there was a How to Go Pro video, and that video came out, and that was about the amateurs, and I was trying to help build something new because Shorty's was like kind of stagnant for not stagnant, but like the same team, And I was always like, everybody's votes yes or they don't get on,
right?
And nobody would vote yes for a long time, you know. And then I got to a point where I was like, okay, guys, like I'm bringing on new guys no matter what.
Right.
Like we have to.
I mean, you got some.
We have to keep this
people want to
going.
keep the team the same, and they don't want to.
Yeah,
but you have to.
I think there was a bit of a threat by it too, because there was a new movement in skateboarding. You know, the next wave was coming in.
Tories, you got Andrew Pott, like cool. You put on
Marius Savannah.
That's right. You put on like some good dudes.
Yep. Oliver, I forget his last name. Little
Rivas.
OG Oliver. Yeah. Oliver Rivas. Yeah. And
Victor Fanouche too.
Yeah, Victor. Victor was like my good close homie who was just breaking it off. Rodrigo Lima.
Yep.
That's right.
You know, so I was doing all this work, and Tony wasn't really around at that time.
Okay.
Like I was doing all this stuff and everything, and and like once again, like I mean, I got nothing but love for Tony. I love the guy so much. I like nothing but good memories.
Yeah.
Things go the way they do.
Sure.
But at that premiere that night, he came up to me and said, "When did you give up on me?" At that premiere, at the How to Go Pro premiere, when I felt like I was trying to be the one to revamp and do everything and do all this stuff, and I just looked at him and I was like, "Really? Like tonight?" And I just
I'm out.
I quit.
Wow.
Peace.
Wow.
I quit. I drove to his house. I broke into his house. I grabbed all the Fulfill the Dream tapes.
Okay.
All the masters, everything, all the footage, and then I was walking out the door, and then I stopped, and I was pretty faded too. But I remember I stopped, and I just looked at the box and looked and thought, and I threw the box down, and then just walked out, and then my homie drove the Escalade home. We were all faded, and we drove back to L.A. and I quit.
Why didn't you want the tapes?
I just left the past with the past.
I
just said I didn't want to deal with anything of him saying I did this or that.
Right.
So I just at that moment I just had this realization. I just left it, and then I went into like dark party mode.
Wow.
And I was like, I just really disappeared for a little time period there. I was gone. I mean, no skateboarding at all. And then Circa was still going for a while. And then eventually they were like, hey,
You're not
what's
doing
up with
it.
this and that. And I don't even remember how it ended. I got into a lawsuit with them for over ownership.
Oh, wow.
And then eventually I sold them my ownership and got a little bit more money. And then I went into the party scene hard and just disappeared. And I was in Paris, France. Yeah. France.
We get you.
And traveling all over Europe and doing all this, like, just like living life kind of. And I think that and I've sort of did this throughout my entire career. And I think that it's helped me out to some extent. It's like, it allowed me not to become burnt out on something and come back with like new recharged energy. And then eventually like the funds were going a little bit low again. And I was like, okay, like
time to get back.
I want to skate again, and I just knew it. I knew I wanted to skate again, and so I started to like roll more and push more on skating, and I ran into Brent Ashley's girlfriend at the Chateau Marmont in L.A.
Okay.
And she was like, "Oh, my boyfriend's a pro skater," and I'm like, "Yeah." Like, you always
heard that before.
You always hear that, and then she's like, "Oh, Brent Ashley." I was like, "Oh, I heard of him. He's rad. I liked him. You know, he was a rad dude, Burnside Ripper. And somehow maybe she called him or something and put him on the phone with me or something.
Okay.
And they were like, "Oh, your name just came up in the Element office today with Kingman." And I was like, "What? Oh, that's really random,
Right.
And he was like, "They were just talking about you for something, and they're about possibly be on the team or something." And I was like, "Tell him to give me a call."
Yeah,
Right. Because I had already been wanting to skate at that time.
This is a year has gone by.
Probably, yeah. I'm bad with time frames, but something like that, I would say, yeah. And then, boom, called me up, said wanted to work together. Went and met with Johnny. And next thing I know, I'm on Element, and I'm fully back in skating.
Back in it.
And I was like, I want to skate hard. I'm skating, and I don't know if this was. I think this was like, I don't know if this was before or after, but I got the gold medal at the X Games. I think that was around. Oh, that might have been right before the end of the dark
party.
The dark party. Yeah,
right.
Because I remember the second X Games. I think is when I was. Getting faded, and I didn't do as well.
Was that around the time you got busted for graffiti and ended up on TMZ and all that?
That was later. I've had a lot of ups and downs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, but sometimes you need like a little break. Like you were so submersed in the skateboarding world and you were just killing it for so long. Yeah, maybe take a year off, Yeah. I mean, you said it was kind of dark, but maybe it was the best thing for you.
Skate here and there. Like I would always jump on my board and like, if I was hungover, I would hit the streets and like go push around LA. But
it wasn't skating.
Not like
it wasn't
doing
like
tricks. Yeah.
Just pro level.
No. Just like rolling around the neighborhood and stuff.
Sure. Yeah.
But then so the Element kind of thing jumped off and like had a blast doing that. Was rolling with Mike V and Bam and Nija when he was a little kid. And Tim and Brent and Levi and man, who else? Just the whole
you got a big squad.
Yeah. Tosh, and man, there's all kinds of crew rolling at that time. They just still got a big squad.
Seriously, yeah.
And those were good times, you know. And that's sort of like that. Then also, that's when Supra started and got on crew, and like so many good things started happening at that. And then I guess eventually I kind of went down again.
You went down again? What happened?
Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know. I self-sabotage maybe. I might be good at the art of self-sabotage.
Did you go down again from drinking and partying, or just because you just were over it, like skating?
Maybe they're both related. You know what I mean? Like maybe as I like get over skating, or not over skating, but just burnt on the scene more. Maybe that's when I start to turn to like the party aspect of it.
The dark side.
Yeah.
You're still on Element?
No. I left a while ago.
You left a while ago. Okay.
The TMZ thing.
The TMZ that didn't help.
Yeah. That was kind of the downfall of our relationship a little bit.
Oh man.
Which is a subject I rarely like to even talk about, but it's all part of my life. You know, it's like without the downs, there's no up.
Right.
And they're all part of bringing me to the point that I am in my life right now,
and
which
you're doing
is a
great.
very, very solid and focused point in life. And I could easily say that like I almost know for certain that I'm not going down that path again.
Yeah.
Like,
That's amazing.
I did it. It's like 3 is the magic number.
Yeah. And there's no pot of gold at the end of that rainbow.
Yeah. And I lost too many friends. I just and I did it, you know. I don't want to do the same thing over and over and over in life. And in my sobriety and in my clarity, I've just found so much beauty in life and tapped into so much more in my mind that like I never knew was there. And it's been such a fun journey for me.
It's amazing.
And I'm able to be there for people now. You know, I'm able to like communicate with my mom on a regular basis, and you know, and my friends, and I don't have any regrets. You know, I don't have any regrets in general. All those mistakes were only lessons for me to get to where I am now. Like I said, you know, and so
it's all life's journey.
Yep. But mine's been a roller coaster.
It's been a roller,
sure.
No, trust me, man. I'm amazed, man. And not to mention, I mean, you've done like really cool shit. I mean, you were on one of my favorite TV shows ever, Entourage.
Oh yeah.
You played a surfer. It was amazing. I was like, is that Muska on Entourage? What is this?
Yeah.
Where am I right now? It's amazing.
And that was
one of my favorite shows.
That was all from going out and partying.
Was it?
Like Kevin Conley's my homie.
Okay.
And he called me up like the night before, and he's like, "I got a role for you. You want to do it?" And I was like, Yes. I've been waiting for this.
I've been waiting for this call.
Yeah, so that was fun, you know.
It's amazing.
After that, I was like taking some acting classes.
Okay.
And thought I was going to do some stuff, but never really panned out.
Yeah.
And,
Didn't you like smash the window of the car? Like, didn't you grab the
He smashed mine.
He smashed yours.
Yeah. I was like being a dick, like, and driving.
Driving,
like,
yeah.
It was like a road rage incident.
Right.
And he like gets out and he's mad and he smashes the whole car. And yeah, I'm like Point Break status in that one, like wetsuit in a PT Cruiser.
PT Cruiser. Were you nervous trying to go out and do that? I mean, it was a big show. Entourage was huge.
I don't know. I think at that time I just didn't care. I was like, Kevin's my homie. He's like, you know, it was like, it just
felt normal.
Yeah. I remember I was embarrassed that I had to wear a wetsuit. And
well, here's a skater playing a surfer.
Yeah. Well, because so many people on that show were like themselves.
Yep.
It was like a reality show, like
pretty much
reality show kind of,
or based on real life characters.
So I was like, that was only a little bit bummed. I was like, is this like supposed to be really me? Like, So that was like the only part I was like a little bit bummed about it. But,
right.
But I was just open for the experience to do it.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, like I said, it was my favorite show.
Yeah.
I love that show.
It was a great show. They don't make them like that anymore.
They don't.
They don't. Really.
Man, listen, bro.
Yeah. I wanted to ask.
Go ahead.
We gotta talk about the Muska flip, dude.
All right.
Yeah. I want to say, how did something like that develop for you? Like, how like
you're just skating.
I know frontside flip.
I know, but like you found it and you did it, and it's your way of doing that trick.
So like I was never that good at frontside flips. Like I have some footage of me doing it. Maybe I'll send it in to you guys. But I used to like do the one where you like kick flip and kind of catch it and then like 90 and like kind of like
skirt it.
Almost skirt it. Yeah. I would always skirt them kind of. And even on flat ground, I'd kind of do them like that.
Okay.
And then like, I think I was in San Diego. It's like skating this curb cut one day. And I was just like, I think I just like threw my board off, like just like it was like a pretty fat curb cut. And I just went real fast and just like blasted my board, like just like almost just like throwing it away from you.
Yeah.
And it just did that motion. And I was like, oh, well, that's like kind of cool. Like, and then I literally like messed around with it that day, and then I busted one like super fat off of it. And I was like, that was sick. Like, and I was like, I didn't know if it was inventing a new trick or what, but like
kind of did.
Obviously, on quarter pipes, I had seen Nodis do it, you know, and stuff. And then, but I stake no claim to that trick because I know tons of people were doing them like that at that time. Like, I never was like, it's the Muska flip. I never once said that in my life. Like, for myself, I don't remember seeing people do it. I just remember just like figuring it out for myself. But then around that same time period, I remember seeing videos like a lot of people
were doing
it like that. But then it just kept sticking, and I'm not gonna deny it at this point. Yeah,
so cool.
I'll take it, man.
Amazing,
yeah. So, but it's like, yeah, I mean, it was also then like it went from being cool to like being pretty like whack, pretty fast. Like it was like hey, like why are you doing them like that? Like, you know.
Listen, I'll take a Muska flip any day, bro. I'll watch you do that all day.
That's
long.
how I first learned them, and
Nice.
I was like, but getting credit carded was like the scariest thing. You know what I mean? But yeah, that's
After skating with Tom Penny for a while, I eventually like got the flick ones. I learned how to do them, but they didn't come naturally for me. That trick just was like it was just naturally would just happen.
Just
so
roll over.
It's
I was
amazing,
like,
dude. The Muska and Penny.
yeah.
Yeah.
Do you remember the day you became the Muska?
I mean, there's a story that's associated with it.
I think people have told it on the show, but I'm not.
I guess I was faded in the back of or not faded. Let me finish the whole story. I was wasted in the back of the van,
right?
And because that's when I was on tour, I used to drink 40s in the back of the van and just get hammered, pass out until we got to the next place where we ever had to drive. You know?
Right.
I didn't like driving the car that long. That's the one part I didn't like because I like to smoke weed, and those guys wouldn't let me smoke weed in the car. And they were like, we got to pull over and smoke it, you know? And I'd be like, no, you don't get it. The whole thing is like smoking while you're going, like you relax and smoke, you know? And they're like, no, like now, God, I totally get it. Like I after now that I don't smoke weed, like I can't stand the smell of it because I don't want to feel the effect. Like when I just smell it, I feel like I'm like getting stoned or something.
Well, back then too, you're driving cross country. It's highly illegal in some states. It's, you know, it could be a big thing.
16-year-old me didn't understand that.
16-year-old you was just like, I'll drink a 40 and go to bed.
Arizona Farms on it?
Yeah.
But I guess I was just getting hammered in the back of the van, and they were all like talking shit to me or something, and I was like, you can't fade the Muska. And then I think I passed out right after I said it too.
It's just the Muska.
And then they were like taking pictures of me back there or something.
Yeah.
Ed, you know, I felt like I was a weird like test subject for Ed Templeton at times, like because like I was always just so hammered around him, and like him, like I stayed on his couch for a while, you know.
Yeah.
I'd come back all wasted, and it's like I'd be on their couch, and like him and Deanna would like come out and like be like, you know. Oh, here
Should we
he
take
is.
photos of
like,
him?
It's amazing.
maybe y'all checking me out.
I
Like,
love that.
yeah, so I was a crazy ass kid. I'm not gonna deny that.
Right.
You know, I was a wild child and probably a handful to put up with. And I remember getting mad at Ed because they wanted to like drive an hour out of the way to go to like a health food store. And I'd be like, "Let's go to McDonald's!" Like, you know, like what's wrong? You know, like I just didn't get it.
You didn't get it,
I was
yeah.
a ghetto little kid. you
Right,
know.
right.
Took me a lot of growing to understand.
Yeah.
It's so good, bro. The Muska. Whenever there's the involved, you know you're
serious.
You've made it. Yeah, it's serious. Well, one thing that I really want to talk about, that's really not it, but it's a rendition of it, is the silhouette board. You know,
You're gonna get a cease and desist from
But, Muska, a fan made that for me and sent it to you. We're not selling it.
Give me his address.
Her. Yeah.
Okay, she's fine. No.
Yeah, Goddess Graphics, one of our fans.
No, I'm
sent
just
that
messing.
in.
That's all love. You
And-
know, it's been done a lot of
Bro,
times.
it's been done. I mean,
Yeah.
this is one of the most iconic boards
Hell
ever.
yeah,
you know,
dude.
I mean, different colors of it, different sizes. It was when you see people making the board in their own kind of way. How do you feel about that? Are you totally cool with it, or is there a little bit of like, oh, it's kind of my like what is your feelings on that? You know, because it's been done a lot.
Yeah. I like when it first came out. I think like Hot Rod Shop did it. Like
Okay.
at one point they did it, and I was kind of like, "What's up with that?" You know, like
Yeah.
I was kind of a little bummed at it. And then like then the next one I remember, like Mike Moe did it. That's kind of one of the ones I remember.
Okay, yeah.
And I remember when I first saw it, I was kind of like, what's up with that? Like I kind of almost got mad, and then like I said something, and I remember like Chico got mad at me or something too.
Oh, really?
But I think I just like woke up out of my sleep and saw it. It might have been like it was like on Twitter or something weird. Or
You know, when
like,
you just wake up, you could kind of be in that funky mood.
yeah.
Yeah.
And then I stopped and I was like, oh man, like I thought of how rad it was, you know, like and I was so bummed at myself for even like starting to get mad because that's
Okay.
not my style, you know?
Right.
Like and I thought it was like an honor to see somebody like Mike Moe keep the dream alive of what I helped start and say that had an impact and an effect on
Bro.
him in order to want to do that graphic.
It's like an homage.
Yeah.
It's like you 50-50ing the Gonz rail. It's like you paid your respects, you know, and people want to keep it going.
Yeah, so I'm definitely hyped on it.
You're hyped
you know?
on it.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Like it's
so we can make the board.
go make it away.
Okay.
Man. Do what you guys got to
Same
do.
thing, different colors, different sizes.
Yeah, man. I'm gonna do it red. I'm gonna do all of them.
Blue.
Go for it, man.
Yeah?
Yeah.
How
You
did-
got my blessing.
How did that graphic like come about?
Tony from Shorty's made that graphic. So
Okay.
I can't remember if I had some input on it or not. Like it's been so long. Like I honestly don't remember exactly. But there was just a photo of me. He either shot it or somebody shot that photo of me just sitting in front of his house.
Yeah.
And I had been inspired by like the NBA and then like by the silhouette and Jordan,
yeah.
and you know and a lot of different things like that. And we had talked about that idea and that concept.
Okay.
And I remember that I'm pretty sure from what I remember, he just presented me with either a little sketch of it first or the actual Illustrator file. And I just was like, that's powerful. That's something,
good.
you know,
Yeah.
and it stuck with me.
Yeah.
And so another thing that was I know as part of my idea that was important to me at that time was to make a graphic that stayed. Because when I grew up, I remembered like
Paul graphics and-
like there was only 10 graphics on the wall,
Yeah.
and like you knew that graphic was a representation of that pro, like. You know, when you saw the Hosoi or you saw the Gonz,
Yeah.
or you saw like, you know, the Fred Smith Mini or like, or the Jason Jesse, or, you know, like these boards were like iconic and
Sure.
and they were such a representation of the pro. And then we went into like the early 90s era where it was like a new graphic every month, every 3 months,
Yeah.
and some knockoff of a cartoon or this or that. And it was just like,
Disposable, yeah.
it was
Yeah.
so much that like, those graphics didn't stand as an icon with the person. And so no matter what, I wanted to create boards that like weren't seasonal, but like lasted.
The test of time.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you did it.
And you know, maybe some of those boards could have become more iconic had the pro held on to it more and branded it more and
Embraced it more. Yeah.
It was like but the sales reps and everybody were always like new.
What's new?
We want
Yeah.
a new graphic. We want a new graphic. You know, I was just like, and we got that a lot with that. You know, and
Here's a
we
new
had,
colorway of it.
Yeah, and they did some like you know, random like team series boards and stuff
Sure.
like that we would do. And then obviously more boards were developed as well with that, which were some of them were, you know, equally not as iconic as that, but still like had an impact on a lot of people's
Oh
lives.
yeah. Like the what was the one you were talking about? The
It was basically the Shorty's board like logo.
the
Yeah,
shoe-
that was less. That was more
Yeah.
of like the intro one, but
Yeah.
then there was like the Muscalade,
The Muscalade.
the
Yeah,
Muscalade graphic.
Yes.
You know,
Cadillac Muscalade.
Cadillac Muscalade. So we, you know, got the Escalade, and we kind of flipped the logo, looked like a boombox kind of, and took the font and matched all the colors of the actual Escalades that were launched that first
Oh,
season.
that's- okay.
Like the pearl and the green and all the colors like were like the same two-tone colors that were available on all the Escalades.
It's incredible.
Yo, Cadillac, give me a sponsorship.
I know, right?
Suck. Give me a free car at least.
Get
Come
this
on.
guy a car, man.
What's the boombox and the crooked grind down the rail, dude? How did you think about trying that? That must have been scary. Like,
Dude.
I watched that. I
You're
was
talking about the
like,
one in Fulfill the Dream or
Yeah.
because there was one in a
Oh, yeah.
contest that
Yeah.
you slammed.
Was it a demo or something like that?
There was a demo.
I forgot about that.
Forgot
one.
about that one?
Yeah,
Man,
I'll
yeah.
have to I'll have to look into that one. Yeah, there's been a lot that has happened along the way. But
was that a demo?
That was at that
maybe
the one that I actually was in the video was in Vancouver.
Yeah,
that was
Slam City Jam.
Yeah.
And from what I remember, I think it was such an epic day. I'm pretty sure it was all the same day.
Okay.
Felt like it was the same day. Like there's been a few trips up there, but there was this like Vans was doing some barbecue, and it was at a different skate park, and like it was like like this classic barbecue, and like but the food was only for the pros and like the industry people and stuff, and all the kids were kind of just watching and stuff. And then I remember I was like, and then all of a sudden it rained and came and rained out. And I think the other one was called White Rock where we were at. I'm pretty sure, but one of them I'm not sure, but I think it was. And everybody was like, we got some call from one of the locals was like, it's sun shining over at White Rock, And we went, and then I went and I bought this like little ghetto grill, like a little just mini one, and I bought like mad hot dogs and burgers and like and then stuff, and I just started grilling up and serving up all the homies like stuff. We got it all going, and like the everybody was just raging and having a good time, and I had the radio obviously because we were all bumping, and I think I just like grabbed the radio and just went over there and just went for one. I think this might have been the same one you're talking about, because I know I think I slammed once and the ghetto blaster blew up and flew everywhere, and everybody had to like gather the batteries and put it in and then like tape it back up,
right.
And then I just somehow pulled it off, and I don't know why I did it.
I mean, listen, imagine like crooked grinding a rail with like a backpack and a boombox. It's incredible.
I have no, just being a ham probably. Or I think I swear, like now that I recall, like music was so important to me at that time. It was just like I was so connected to music, and if I had been drinking or smoking a little bit, like I just wanted that music with me, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like
Right.
and it was like such energy, and I fed off musical energy for a majority of my career, and a lot of the tricks that I did would like I would go up to the radio and just sit my head next to it, bump my head, and then throw my board down and go for it. Like that was like a really like music was very motivational for me in my skateboarding. And so I think at that moment I was probably in the zone, and I was just like
hyped.
I just wanted to like have that radio by me, like rocking.
Because the radio, it wasn't a shtick. It was like that was you. That was you doing you. Like you loved me. You fed off of it. Yeah. It wasn't just you like, oh, I'm going to do
the party.
I'm going to go to the park today and do it.
Yeah, I'm going to do I'm going to have my boombox here, and they're going to film that, and like that. You were just doing you.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't.
I mean, I definitely probably placed it strategically here and there for a couple photos, like maybe because, but. It was definitely coming with me regardless.
Regardless.
Yeah.
Right.
And it was just like, just music. Music was a major part of my life at that time.
Okay.
It's not as much anymore nowadays. At least, it's a different type of, different way, I guess. I listen to I don't really listen to hip hop much anymore at all.
Okay.
Yeah.
If you do, is it the old stuff? Is it like Black? Do you ever pop on some Black Moon? And
if
like,
I do, it brings me back to the zone. Yeah. And sometimes it's like it's weird. It's emotional for me. Like it's like having all those memories. Like it's been such a crazy ride that like sometimes I can't handle it nowadays to like relive those thoughts and go back to that time.
Right.
So like I listen to like a lot of like textural sounds now, like just very minimal sounds, and
nature stuff, or
some
more
of that,
like
some electronic though, still synthesizer, just sequencing, or some live instruments, sitars and tablas, and but a lot of electronic music. I like electronic music.
When you were doing Muskabeatz, didn't you produce like a lot of like? Didn't you produce some big names?
Yeah, I got to work with like some of my heroes for sure.
Like Raekwon.
And Raekwon and U-God from Wu-Tang.
Yeah. J. Rue the Damager.
J. Rue, my boy.
Yeah.
J. Rue loves skateboarding.
Dude,
too,
does
man.
he?
He's down with it.
Bro.
He's super cool. I mean,
that first album he came out with, incredible.
Yeah.
Like
Wrath of the Math.
Man, I fucking played that till
can't
the
stop
tape
the prophet.
stopped. Yeah. But he was telling a story.
Yeah.
Like in the, it's amazing.
Yeah, he's
dude.
the master, man. And I mean, that was another dream come true to like work with these like I said,
KRS-One.
Music was such an important part of my life.
Yeah.
So to like think that I would ever have worked with those guys and produced music for them to rap over, and I went and set up a portable recording studio in the Soho Grand in New York City.
Wow.
And this is at a time where like laptops and sound devices had just been fairly new to do a portable studio and record like that. I'd never seen anybody do it.
Okay.
Before the Pro Tools N box, I had this like little sound devices, mic preamp, USB bus powered microphone recording system, and I was like set up a studio with my homeboy Super Dave, and we recorded all these rappers, and it was like, you know, Flavor Flav, KRS-One,
It's amazing.
Special Ed, MC Light, Africa Bambaataa, Melly Mel,
Wow.
J-Ru Guru, rest in peace, Prodigy, Mobb Deep, rest in peace.
How'd you get all these names? You have to like pay for these guys to show
Yeah,
up,
yeah,
or-
definitely. I started a record label.
Okay.
I connected with my homies from Frank 151 magazine, who were connected to the hip hop scene out there a lot. Block from Venice over
Yep.
here. He
Yep.
introduced me to Raekwon.
Okay.
And Lofty, Block and Lofty came over.
Sick.
And I met him in LA, and we recorded just a freestyle session. I took that freestyle session and chopped it up and made a hook, which was the Muskabeatz, Muskabeatz
okay.
coming through with the motherfucking woo. You know, like, so I chopped that all up and I had it, and I made a beat specifically with Paulo Diaz and Jaime, our homies, did some live instruments over at that ding 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 ding.
Sick. Yeah.
Ding 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 ding. Sick ass instrument. I forgot the name of it.
Sitar or something like that?
That one wasn't. It was like I think it was a Thai instrument, but it's kind of like a harp, some type of harp.
Oh,
And it's
interesting.
Like, ding, 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 ding. It's a cool instrument. And then Jaime, our other homie, played like the bass on it too. So there was like live elements that tried to. At that time, I was scared of sampling because of the rights and all
Copyrights,
that.
yeah.
So I was trying to like get live instruments and then treat them as samples.
Yeah.
And replicate as if I was sampling from an album.
Right.
And that was my attempt to do it, at least. Yeah.
No, it's great. I mean,
Yeah, so that was sick, and then I brought that beat in, and I already had it made, and he was like, "Oh, you got the hook? Woo, 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 son, woo!" He came in so
No
hot. He had like
way.
a towel, and he was like sweating. He was like, "Yeah, son, I never seen a studio like this in here, son." Like he was so hyped, and like, and I was like, "Oh my god!" Like I was just bugging out.
Yeah.
Like, you know, I mean, being the hip hop fan that I was, you know, like Raekwon in the not even a studio, in a hotel room. And because I was scared that they weren't gonna be like, they were gonna be like, "This is whack."
Yeah, like, what the fuck
you're
is
gonna
this?
bring me in a hotel room and record this? And
Right.
so the first artist we recorded was Biz Markie. And I had Chung King Studios in New York City. It's another studio reserved just in case.
Okay.
I was like, I got this, but I got this other one reserved.
back up.
And then he came in and checked it out, and I was like, you know, we got to kind of set up here. Like, we have the mic, we have all the capabilities of doing it here, but I also have the studio if you want to go to the studio, but we could listen to some beats here, pick what you want, we'll go record it.
Okay.
He's like, I'm doing it here. You know,
No
like
way.
this classic Biz, you know? He's
right.
like, we're going to do it right here. And I'm
Wow.
like, oh shit. Like, and then all of a sudden, then we just played, he picked this beat and then started recording it. And then I was just like, after the first take on the verse and stopped, I was like, oh my God, like, you know, like, I was like, it's working, like, it's happening,
It's
you know?
happening.
And that was crazy, man. That was a crazy,
It's like a
crazy-
dream come true.
Yeah, that
It's
was like, yeah, I've had multiple dreams come
Seriously?
true in my life.
My God.
And that was definitely one of them, man. Like, and then once we finished with him, I was like, if it's good enough for Biz, everybody's gonna be down with this,
Sure.
you know? And sure enough, they were.
Wow.
And they were just like, they were all like, wanted to learn, like, they're like, how do you do this? Like, he's like, Raekwon, I remember saying, he's like, he's like, man, I want to keep one of these like that, just in here like that, you know, like, it's
Yeah.
like, I want one of those ready to go, you know, like, they were tripping on it, and now it's, you know,
It's common.
common,
Yeah.
yeah, everybody has a laptop and a recording
Sure.
system into it, you know, but it was, you know, nobody had seen that, and so now it comes back to technology and trying to push the envelope, and
Yeah, man.
always trying to stay up to date with what's happening.
Yeah.
But yeah, all those guys, MC Light, you know, amazing.
Ice-T.
Yeah, Ice-T. Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah, it's and yeah, it was just all happening, and but it was a tricky time for music. So we were like right at the start of the MP3 era.
Napster.
You know?
Oh, that's
And so
right.
that was the beginning of it. All the Tower Records had started to go out of business. All these things were happening. And so my concept was, okay, skaters are like big time music people.
Mm-hmm.
Let's bring the CDs to the skate shop, you know, and let's sell music in the skate shop. And so I sold a fair amount of, I think we did like 50,000 copies or something like that.
Wow.
Wow.
I think I could be wrong.
Okay.
Maybe it was.
Did you at least break even?
I spent way more money on that
did
project.
you?
Way more.
But the experience is
Passion
priceless.
project.
Yes.
But the experience is priceless.
Yeah, and it was like the whole label, and I was trying to get it going. And so the problem is that it was just in the hardest time ever to start up in music.
Right.
And I didn't have the foresight to see that streaming would be something eventually.
Yeah, I don't think anybody did.
Yeah.
It's
And
tough.
that would be something you could capitalize off of at least.
Oh, yeah.
And I was trying to get a record deal, or at least a distribution deal with my music through a record company, but I wasn't an artist. I was a producer. And it was kind of like the Neptunes were kind of the first people that actually got like more of a deal being a producer that I know of at least. So it was hard. I wasn't an act. I had a compilation to them, but I didn't have that star selling power to.
Sure.
I wasn't like,
But you have the stars.
Yeah. So
CD
it was a hard thing to do, and so eventually, after spending so much time and money and effort into it, I go, okay, this isn't really working out. And the hip hop industry is like, I don't really want to work in it. It's a pretty sketchy industry to work in.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Like
sometimes,
there's some gang thug affiliation going on with that world. You know what I mean? And people are going to want to tax if you're not careful. And so I started to see that side of it as well too. And I was like, whoa, like I don't want to get into anything negative over something I love. And so that's when I just kind of like retracted more and went into skating.
A little bit.
Yeah.
But still, like I said, those experiences with those people, it's incredible.
Oh yeah.
I mean, you just named off like 20 people that like I'm huge fans of.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Wow.
It's definitely one for the memory banks. One I'll never ever forget. And they're all still cool with me to this day, which is so rad. You know what I mean? To like hit them up and be like, homies. You know? Yo, Flav, what's up, Flavor?
Could you
Yo,
imagine?
Muska boy, oh yeah, boy.
Imagine that FaceTime.
I know.
Wow,
It's
that'd be sick.
incredible.
I had a conversation with them the other day, and it was so like
No
I was
way.
like, why wasn't this recorded? Because it was the most like epic conversation I had in like a long time.
I can only imagine.
And just talking on the phone with Flavor Flav, and what was cool is that it was the mutual respect, like because like he said in the beginning too, he's like I didn't really know about your skating, man. He's like I just knew you were starting a label and this and that, and you were friends. Special Ed recorded first on the album with me, and he's like boys with Flavor, and he's like, I'm gonna bring Flavor. He needs to get on this. And I was like, oh, and that's kind of like each one kind of led to another one,
Right.
But he's like, man, boy, he's like, oh man, Chad, let me tell you, like he's like, and he starts going off. He's like, what you do on that board and this and that and like, and all the things. And I was like, I'm like, oh my God, it's like Flavor Flav telling me this right here. This is crazy, like like. And so it's cool to see like how far skateboarding has reached and how many people that don't even skateboard love it and love to watch it as much as skaters do too.
And too, the people who are getting into it because it's so available, like, Lil Wayne.
Yeah.
Lil Wayne is like a fucking skateboarder. Like, who would have ever thought?
Yep, and I
It's
think
insane.
That's amazing, and it's weird. It's like I always trip out too. Like, there's a lot of people that talk shit too. You know what I
Sure.
mean? Like, and
Yeah,
you're like,
there's always gonna
you're
be
like,
people like
Like,
that.
why? Like, what? Like,
Dude, if they met him, they'd be like, all right, this guy's legit.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he loves it. He loves it, man.
I mean,
It's
bro,
like,
we started this podcast and literally like not even like a half a year into it, like he's sitting down episode 25 and he's just like, oh yeah, skating? Like I'm down, like podcasts, like fuck yeah, let's do this. And I'm like, Lil Wayne's here. Like we're episode 25. I have no idea what I'm doing. And I can't even barely talk to the guy. You know what I mean? Like
That was epic.
yeah, and you could see his love for skateboarding is just so strong and pure. You know what I
Bro.
mean? And that's the thing that kids. Like that's the thing that kids really need to remember is that skateboarding is just about you and your skateboard. It's not about like, oh, he's not grinding a 10-stair handrail or doing tray flip 50-50 or anything like that. It's like, who cares? Like it's like there's no ability level that dictates whether or not you're a skater.
Oh, yeah.
If you love skateboarding, then you're a skater. That's it. That's all that matters. It doesn't matter how you dress. It doesn't matter what tricks you do. It doesn't matter if you're a boy or girl, black, white, Asian, Hispanic.
Yeah.
None of that matters. If you love skateboarding, then you're a skateboarder, and that's it.
it's true. I mean, I get joy out of just seeing somebody skate down the street with a smile on their face.
Yeah.
I'm like, dude, that's amazing.
Yeah.
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 It's true though.
Especially if they're pushing manga.
Skate with Lil Wayne?
I haven't ever.
You gotta
man.
skate
We
with
gotta-
Lil Wayne, man. Let's all get a session.
Little tunes, let's do
Let's
it. Bring it on. But he repped my kicks hard, man, for many years. He was rocking Skytops, like like a lot. And thank you, Wayne.
Was he gonna do a brand with Supra?
They ended up doing some collaboration stuff with them too. Yeah, so he had a whole line of products within it and stuff eventually. But before that, even he was just on the strength. He was wearing my stuff, and I was always grateful for that.
To see that.
So cool.
How did you start making that shoe? 'Cause that shoe, that's what took you into like that other world.
The whole fashion world.
Yeah. How did you develop that shoe?
So I mean, it's just like anything that I develop. It's like it comes from whatever I'm inspired by at that time in that moment, and where I see fashion going. When I design a shoe, I don't think only about the shoe. I think about like what's the entire head to toe look, and what's influential in that particular time in life. And so at that time I was inspired by like high top shoes and tight jeans. Like we're kind of cool at that in that time frame, you know what I mean? And it was pulling from like 80s culture, 80s hip hop, from like Grandmaster Flash and the Furious 5 even to like Metallica and those like skinny jeans and tight pants. Like if you looked at hip hop and rock at that time, they were kind of dressed in the same style, you know? And that was like something cool about that to me, that like those two polar opposites of music genres could like share a similar style. Like Axl Rose rocking some like cool high tops with some jeans,
high top Reeboks, whatever.
And the hip Run DMC and hip hop's like, you know, these guys were all doing that style at that time too. And so that was appealing to me, that like spoke to me that something could be universal, and not only be limited to one particular genre or style of dressing. And then in high fashion, I saw some of the things go in that direction at that time, which was always inspiration for me as well too.
Right.
So it was kind of like taking multiple things kind of mixed together, and then worked with Josh Brubaker to create the Skytop 1.
Crazy.
And it was doubted heavily in the beginning.
I was going to ask you, like, how did they respond to that? Like,
it's a fairly normal looking shoe now when you look at it.
Yeah, totally. At the time, it was wild.
Yeah, at the time, people were like, "Oh, Muska's crazy." Like,
he made a wrestling boot. What the fuck?
Right.
I am crazy. Don't get me wrong, but
in the best possible way, though.
Oh, word.
Man.
Yeah. So, but it didn't hit right overnight. You know what I mean? It was like there was the first season was kind of shady. Like people were like, you know, sales reps weren't really taking it out of the bag, and you know, it's like a little bit like kind of like they were like, "Oh, we got to make a low top because if you want to even be paid, we have to justify selling something," you know? And so they made the Sky Low. And then by the second season, it started to get out there, you know, and I started to see some people rock it. And then, you know, I remember we sold them at Supreme in LA in the beginning at the LA store. And my friend hit me up and they were like, "Oh, Kanye West bought some Skytops over there." And I was like, "Oh, whoa, that's crazy." Like, you know, that's cool. Like, damn, whoa. Like, you know, and they were talking about it. And then not too long after that, I had seen like Jay-Z popped up in them. And then, and then it was like kind of like all kinds of people after that. I can't even remember how many people, but they got all over the place. And I was pretty like still up in the mix in the Hollywood scene, so I was like around a lot of people, and I was like, I was wearing them out and stuff, and people were like, "What are those?" And I'm like, "Oh, you know, I got you," and we'd give some pairs here and there. But a lot of people got them on their own, which was always really, I thought was even cooler than, you know, just paid product placement,
just gifting somebody something
or something like that. And we definitely did later as it got like really popular. We started, you know, contacting people and gifting stuff more. But it just was like, it really just was hit and happened, and it's still in the market right now. So that's like, you know, it's pretty rare for our industry to have a shoe that lasts.
Hold on to something,
It's been almost 12 years now.
That's insane. Really? 12 years.
Doesn't even feel like that.
Yeah, 12 years, I think.
Crazy.
2007, I guess, or so 13 years of that? Or?
It was 12 years.
12.
Yeah.
12 years.
Kelly's good with numbers, by the way.
Yeah.
I'm not.
I'm not either. We always turn to him for 4 + 4. You know, but I mean, could you imagine? I mean, I can't even imagine seeing somebody like Kanye or Jay-Z like wearing something that came out of your mind.
It was insane. Yeah, it was definitely like, I still can't believe it. You know what I mean? Like, it's crazy. Did
you ever meet them or anything? Have you met Jay-Z or Kanye or?
Never Kanye. Did I meet Kanye? I can't remember. I don't think so. I probably would have remembered that. I've met Jay-Z, but only like briefly, and not based on the shoes. It was actually before the shoes that I'd met him.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and Damon Dash was a friend of mine, and I would go when Rockefeller Records was going on and stuff, and they were talking about getting involved in skating at one point, and I went to the studio and met up with them back in the day.
Wow.
Yeah.
No way.
And then Jay I would see like partying in New York and stuff, but it was always just he would have never probably remembered those moments like I did.
Right.
Wow. Yeah, and then then it was like, like Heidi Klum and Janet Jackson, and like, it was like a lot of crazy people were wearing the shoes.
That's so sick.
Yeah.
You have lived.
Whoopi Goldberg.
No way.
She used to come by my shop, 413. Yeah, me and Angel had a shop over there on Fairfax, and Whoopi would come by to get shoes.
That's so tight.
Hey, Whoopi. Yeah, it's amazing.
Wow.
Bro, you've lived a life, man, and you're still going.
Living the life.
It's just the beginning, man.
I know, that's what I'm saying.
I'm
You're
telling
still,
you, like, I feel like
this is just the start.
I feel like there's so much
Now
more
he's
left.
killing the art world.
We're gonna get into that.
So much
dude.
more left to do.
Yeah.
I think that's what always keeps me going, is that like I'm never actually fully satisfied with anything that I do. Anything, like every design is not quite perfect.
Right.
Every video part isn't finished. Every painting is not done. I don't know. I guess that's part of my process to keep going on,
Yeah.
to force me to do something. What's next?
Sure.
But yeah, it's oh, what a life, man.
Bro.
I still can't believe it.
Sky's the limit, bro.
Yeah.
You just keep going, man. But in your artwork, you've been doing a lot of art, a lot of like concrete and rocks and different things too.
Yeah. Through a knee injury I had a while back, probably about 10 years ago or so, or a little bit longer than that now.
Oh.
Yeah, I don't remember when it was, but it was a while ago. Around 2008, I started to get more heavily into artwork after.
Okay.
I think that was when I had the injury.
Oh.
And 2008, 2009, and had to get knee surgery and all that stuff. And I was living in New York at the time, and my boy Harif Guzman, Hakula is my OG homie, and he's an amazing artist, and we've always hung out over the years regardless, and he was painting, and he's just an amazing artist. He's always been an artist since I've known him, and I was hurt and I had nothing to do, kind of, and he was like, hey, make something with me. And so I started making something, and I'd always been involved with, like I said, graffiti from the past,
right.
and then from graphic design, but it was like, it wasn't until then where I started to kind of really mess with it and got into kind of more of the street art aspect of it. It was still an extension of graffiti to me. He was up in the streets in New York, and so as my knee got better and I was walking around, he's like, oh, I'm gonna go paste with him, kind of relive some of my youth again.
Sure.
So we started putting up some wheat pasting and catching some tags here and there and stuff, and that's kind of the initial startup of it, and then. The more I did of that, the more I felt like I had nothing to offer. Like I was doing the same thing. And that's where my search began to find something different with art and for myself.
Yeah.
That was more personal to me, that I felt like I was pushing myself more, and I was like, it was the evolution of where I'd been and not regurgitating what I'd already done. And that was a long process. I've been messing with this, for over 10 years now, like pretty heavily.
Right.
And really heavily, very focused on it, and I love it, and I enjoy the process so much, and I enjoy that there's no variables in it. With companies, there's always a variable. There's always like an expectation, a sales point, a duty that you have to meet, or a minimum, or material story, or a color, sales reps expectations. There's so many things in companies that, even though there's
check
freedom,
all the boxes.
Yeah, there's freedom to create, but there's a lot of limitations with it. And so with my art, luckily I don't have to depend on it financially. I do sell my artwork, which is always a rewarding feeling.
Oh yeah, that somebody else wants to buy what you created.
Yeah, and I love that. Even though I am kind of an art hoarder a little bit,
Are you?
I kind of always, because it's never finished. That's why. And by the time I'm like finish with this one, my mind's already on to this next one, and I don't want people to have that one because the new one's going to be better.
Right.
And then I get to the new one, and then that one's done, and I'm like, wait, no, this is it. It's it, but this is the better one's going to come. And I've been doing that for 10 years, and
You
luckily,
gotta let go.
yeah, yeah.
gotta
A lot
let
of it
go.
I destroy. Like,
No.
I just go. I'll
Kinda
go
like
over it.
experiment. Yeah.
Oh, let me know. I'll drive over
Yeah,
and grab
yeah.
it, dude. You know.
We need some artwork for our room.
Yeah,
I know.
I gotta get you guys one in here
Seriously,
somewhere.
man. I got
but
a
yeah,
mantle that'll look great.
Yeah, I love it. You know, I really
Yeah.
enjoy it. It's a passion of mine that has no limitations and nothing but freedom of self-expression in it. And I know for a lot of people that grown up and seen me as a skater and followed my career throughout my entire life, they probably question what I do, if there's validity to it or not, because I've painted such a picture of myself to the public as a skateboarder, as this like, yo, what up, dude? You know, like, and all this stuff. And so when you have that persona, I'm sure it's hard for people to take what I do in art serious.
Okay.
But for me, it's like so serious. It's probably like the most serious thing I've ever done, and the most personal thing that I've ever done. And it's funny. I sort of live I live a lot of different lives, but when it comes to skateboarding and my personal life, especially right now where I'm at, it's like I feel conflicted sometimes here and there. Like I'm sort of tugged back and forth, like, and I sort of live up to that particular person depending on where I'm at, and it's like I can't almost control it. Like if I go to a skate event, the ham comes out. I can't help it. Like I'm like I just start, you know, I'm like,
But you got the
like,
energy,
yo,
bro.
What's up?
Yeah.
Yo.
I
And
see
I'll
you
start,
running
you
around
know,
those
yeah.
things
I
with the
love that.
mics, and yeah,
And
bro.
I've been having so much fun doing that,
It's
man. Like
amazing.
because
you could tell.
because I go in these waves of where like I come to skate events and I'm around them, and I disappear for a while. And then so when I come back, I'm like super recharged, and I'm like, oh, there's this new kid I never seen breaking it off, next level skating.
Yeah.
And I love it. And then I also thought like it was unintentional. Like Chris Postris brought me on a couple of things. He's like, oh, like first it was an interview. The interview led to, oh, just like we're just gonna bring you on to talk side kind of kick with us.
like color commentary.
commentary,
Yeah.
Then one thing he was like, oh, you want to do this other, like co-host it with me? And then I was like, cool. And then I like was like, whoa, I really like doing
fun.
this, you know? And,
Yeah.
and then some televised things came up with the X Games and the
Okay.
Do Tour stuff. And I just enjoyed doing it. And then I also thought that if somebody's going to be up there representing skateboarding and talking about it, a lot of times they get some weird random guy that's not a part of skating.
Right.
I was like, I want to be doing this.
wanna
And
do that.
I'll take that.
I'll be the person that goes up there and represents skating.
Right.
I'll
Oh,
go,
yeah.
even if I'm making a fool of myself here and there, you know, I am 100% enjoying it, and I love to see the level of skateboarding continue to be pushed. I love to see these kids just breaking it off, and when I talk to them, I could see that there's a genuine hypeness that comes back in full circle return, you know. So
Right.
they're hyped and I'm hyping them up. I'm beyond hyped that they're hyped and I'm hyping them up. So it's like it's like you're hyped, I'm hyped, we're all hyped. Let's
Right,
go,
right,
let's
let's
do
get
this,
it,
you know. Yeah. So but to go back to what I was saying, kind of, it's like it is strange because like I've grown so much since starting skateboarding and coming up in the skate industry and practicing this artwork that I do and practicing thought and meditation and philosophy, I guess, to some extent. Like, you know, I mean, as we all get older, we start to search for answers. We
Sure.
start to think about our mortality. We start to think about this reality.
Oh, yeah.
All these things. Maybe I do, at least. I don't know if everybody
Oh,
does.
trust
but
me.
Yeah. So I've been on a search. I've
Yeah.
been on a soul search, and I've been on a quest to document my thoughts, to express them through artwork, and to not be held back from who I am as a skateboarder, but to continue to become who I am as a human and what this mind has to offer to the world beyond what I can do on my skateboard or what I can design on footwear, in clothing and this different things. I have more to offer, and I'm trying to find my platform in which to express these thoughts. And I don't know where I'm going.
No,
there,
but I mean,
you know,
just to say, just to what you just said about like your art pieces not being finished, it's almost like an interpretation of you. You're not finished. You're always looking for something new and the next best thing, and that's, you know, that wasn't good enough, or it was good, but you know, you can make improvements. You can make improvements, and you're still going. You know, and that almost, I think that almost translates into you not thinking that art piece is done.
Yeah,
you know?
I can see that.
You know,
I can see that relationship.
Yeah.
When you see a piece of art that you've done, does it take you back to a certain time of your life that you were working on it? Does that make any sense? It's like kind of like a video. It's like a video part or something.
Only with like my super old work, like the stuff when I was first creating in New York. That's more like pop art and street art and stuff. Like that takes me to a time because I was kind of like getting faded during that time too, as well, a little bit, you know. And so like it's more like. And for me now, it's like that artwork was very suggestive. It was like, you know, a word on it or an image. It was like, you know, it was very suggestive artwork. And the work that I do now is more minimal and conceptual and open to interpretation. And so I think that the things that are open to interpretation could have a longer lifespan and could be they just are more special to me because I could see it through each individual's eyes that looks at the artwork. I get a whole new perspective on it.
And it's special to that person of what they see in it and what they take away from it.
Yeah. So, and some of my stuff has some suggestions in it, but, for me, it's like, it's really similar to my skating. In a lot of ways, there's not like a lack of thought into what I'm going to do. It's more about the action of just doing it. And so that's why maybe the beauty is in the action. And once the action is done, I have no interest in the final product. I have interest in the continuation of the action more than the finishing something. Because if it's finished, I feel like then it's boring. It's done.
It's done. Yeah, for sure, man.
So.
Thank you. I would love a piece of art from us. I have the perfect place for it at my house.
I'll send you my dealer.
Chad. Okay, I'll take the shoes at least. You know,
the shoes are cheaper than the artwork.
Are they? How much you selling your art for, bro? I mean, I know it probably depends on the piece, how big it is, and all that stuff. But I mean, are you getting up there, bro?
I do okay with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
It depends. You know, there's, and that's the thing too, is that like. It's hard for me because the galleries set prices and then they sell your work for a certain amount of price. And then it's hard for me because like a lot of skaters are interested in the work, but then I feel like I can't sell my work for that much money to a skater. It's like I almost want to just give it to him for free.
Right.
Like you.
No, thank you. Yes.
Well, how do you even decide on a price on something?
Well, that's a little more for like the galleries and stuff to come up with as well.
But a lot of it is like, so something could sound like a lot of money, but okay, let's say $10,000.
Yeah.
Does that sound like a lot of money to buy an art piece for?
Yeah.
For some,
So for me, if I sell something for $10,000, it's usually split with the gallery, which is then I'll receive $5,000. The materials that go into some of the stuff that I build is like creating the frame, the concrete, the steel work, the framing, the studio space in which you have to work out of. All these things factor up to where like $10,000 piece doesn't equate to that much in the long run.
Yeah.
So it's I think that is a totally fair price. Some people's work then goes way up from there. Then you get into the $20,000, $50,000, $100,000, which my work is't there yet. I float around the 10 to 15 range for the bigger size stuff.
Sick.
And then down to like around $4,000 for like the smaller
Oh,
stuff.
wow. Okay.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
And then the prints and stuff like that you could sell for cheaper, but I've only done one print in my life so far.
Yeah, the art world is it's very strange.
It's beyond strange.
It's like figuring out this beast that nobody could figure out.
No one will ever figure it out.
There's nothing to figure out. It's all subjective. It's all connections. It's all a lot of bullshit, which is also makes me happy that I don't depend on that necessarily for my salary.
Right.
Like eventually, like I honestly would love to, because it's like as I get older, it's like my passion lies there way more than in products, to be honest with you, because I'm also conflicted with a lot of things in mass manufacturing, in the environmental effects that it's having on this world, the effects it's having on society for people thinking that they always need something new, brand new, best things, and disposable fashion that's ending up in landfills and being shipped all over the world. And so these things are things that I think about all the time, but I don't own the companies, so I can't implement all the changes that I would like to change. And some of those changes might put the company out of business even in order to stay in business. So there's so many factors that go into it that they weigh on my consciousness a lot. And so I think about these things, and I eat a completely plant-based diet, but yet my shoes are made of leather at times, and they've been made of leather and suede before I became vegan. So I say plant-based because vegan, I think, is a very strong statement to make. Is in my time it was, and so just the fact that I would wear leather on my feet, it goes against the idea of being vegan. I would say so. I eat a plant-based diet.
Yeah.
I want to make as less amount of products with animal byproducts as possible.
Right.
But the machine is running pretty heavily, and it's not all up to me at this point.
Sure.
Yeah. But I do plan on making vegan products right now, especially. Like, I have a lot of ideas in the works.
It's amazing. And sometimes that stuff takes time to implement, you know? It's a lot of moving parts.
And I think it's also tricky when, for vegans as well, if you make a line of vegan products, but then you also have the other side. It's sort of like a
double-edged sword. Playing on both fields.
But I think there'll be some people that would appreciate it if you at least offer the versions. And some of my shoes have been synthetic, and there are options out there.
Yeah.
I have to look into the glues more and stuff too as well to know exactly if they're 100% vegan or not.
Chad, you're killing it, bro.
That's one of those pugs.
Yo, you got pugs?
Oh yeah,
you get a few. They're
at home right now. It's like normally my girlfriend's out of town right now too. So like they're like we usually have like a 2-hour window.
Chad, you better. I hope you put some puppy pads down.
They're down.
Okay, good.
Down.
Okay, good.
Yeah. So I had 4 pugs, but one of them passed away a while ago. Dougie the pug.
I love human names for animals. I got a cat named Larry.
Nice.
Yeah.
Larry.
Yeah,
Larry.
It's a girl.
Oh.
She.
Yeah.
But I love what are their dogs' names?
I got Max, Maggie, Coco, and Max, Maggie, and Coco.
Max, Maggie, and Coco.
Yeah.
Okay.
Maggie we call Gooby.
Gooby.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Why, I don't know. That was her nickname.
Little nicknames pop up, you know?
Nicknames for dogs.
Yeah, it happens.
That's tight.
When I had 2 pugs for a long time now. And then when I met my girlfriend, she had 2 pugs too. We're like the puggy bunch.
You're the puggy bunch.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
So I got my crew. They're kind of like my life, man. Those are like my kids.
Animals are the best.
I don't have kids, so they're like, I'm all about my dogs, man. They're like me and my girlfriend haven't even gone on a trip with each other in like years because we don't want to leave.
Bring them over at Raj to watch them. Go on a trip. Take your girl on a trip.
We don't trust them with anybody.
No,
Minnick,
I wouldn't.
Minnick.
Joey Brzezinski knows.
Pizza the pug.
Yeah.
We love pugs and the pug queen. What up, pug queen? She saved so many pugs and but I can't take any more than this, man.
Yeah,
one of them's almost 20 years old.
20.
Yeah.
Damn.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
Wow.
He might be 20 by now. I don't know the exact date, but he's right
birthdays
around.
are hard with animals. Unless you've seen them born. Yeah. I love animals. They're the best. They're so comforting, and you could tell them anything, and they're always there.
Yeah.
You know?
I'll be home soon, Maggie. I'm coming, Maggie.
Yeah. Sometimes they do judge you, though, Raj. I could tell. Muska.
Yeah.
This has been
an honor.
Incredible.
Yeah.
Cool.
Bro, I've been waiting for this moment ever since we started the show.
It's been an honor to be on here, man. And I could say, like, I'm not even exaggerating. I think I get, like, at least 1 request a day for the last almost 2 years, maybe.
Really?
Like, do the 9 Club. Are you going on the 9 Club show? Are you going on the 9 Club? And it's funny because it almost got to a point where I was like, it was so long, I almost got nervous to do it. I was like, he's like, the 13th. I'm like, I don't know. I'm kind of superstitious. Let's not do the 13th.
Yeah.
And then the first one I was going to do right before I left on this tour. I've been on skate tours. I've been doing all kinds of stuff, man. Like doing demos. Don't trip.
You've been busy, bro.
Yeah. Art shows, demos, on the mic, designing. What you want on the 9 Club, son? What?
Dude,
I do it all.
You do it. You do it all. Let me tell you something. And let me tell you something. I'm a big fan. Been a big fan forever, bro. I want to thank you so much for coming on the show. Can we give you some 9 Club stuff to take home with you?
Let's do it.
Throw in that backpack of yours.
Let's do it. That's why I brought it here.
Yeah, he's going to load up.
Always prepared.
What size shirt?
Extra large.
XL.
Yeah.
Kelly, will you go grab him some stuff, man?
It's an honor to, yes.
Bro.
What type of t-shirts are they? Do you know?
They're
Gildan or
all style.
AAA.
AAA?
No, they're all style.
All style?
All style AAA.
Oh, all style AAA. Yeah.
Maybe. Do you have 2X?
No.
Okay, just X. Just
Okay,
XL.
okay.
No, we
XL.
actually have a couple.
Do we?
Yeah.
I'll see what's
Okay. See, we're getting
Bring-
some new stuff
bring 'em
though
both, just-
too, man. What about sweatshirts though? XL, good.
Yeah.
A little hot right now, but you save them for
if
winter.
If they have 2X,
Man,
I
we
like
don't have
baggy.
to-
We got 2X
We got to
there.
get some. Just don't wash them. Okay,
Yeah,
they
yeah.
won't shrink.
Yeah.
You know.
I never dry my stuff. You know, I always do that.
Did the hang dry?
Yeah, hang dry in a little pool.
They don't really shrink that much.
Dude. Perfect.
Yeah.
Muska, can I ask you a favor?
Yes.
I want you to sign my board, bro.
Are you sure?
Bro,
Are you sure you don't want to sign?
I don't know. This is.
Let's do it.
You gonna do it? Yeah.
Yeah, do you have a
You're gonna
marker?
Sign of course, bro.
Where's the marker at?
I'm gonna have Muska sign my Krob Muska board. Huh?
Yeah.
Yes.
It's
Look
official
at that.
The 9 Club Krob status over here.
Bro, and listen, come back anytime, man. Our door's always open for you, man.
Experience would be perfect for him.
Oh, man. We have another show, 9 Club Experience, where we just sit around and talk about skating and just bullshit with each other. It's amazing.
Isn't that what we just did?
Yeah, but
Pretty much.
we'll do it again. We'll do it again. Look at that. Muska. Boom, he's got his own little thing here, bro. Copyright 2019. Boom.
Careful what you ask for. You might just get.
Uh-oh. Look at that.
Yeah,
That's so
it's
sick.
official.
Thank you so much.
I think you
dude.
should sign it too, though.
No, Chad, I don't know if I can, man. Look at that, bro. I can't. I don't. First of all, I'm not really a big fan of my own signature.
Okay.
You seem to have yours nailed. You know.
A lot of people question my signature. They're like, "Well, they're like, you wrote your name. Can you just sign it?" I go, "That's my signature."
That's your signature. You're right, right. Well, I'm sure you have a different signature for signing like checks and
Yeah,
bills.
yeah.
and
That's why.
stuff.
That's why I like to keep them separate.
I got the same. thing.
Yeah.
What do you keep in your backpack? What are like 5 essentials you need in your backpack at all times?
A pen and paper. Sunglasses. A towel for sweating. Usually, I should have had it on me right now. Wipe down. Extra
Well,
T-shirt.
What else is going on? I mean, I know it's never ending. You
Actually,
know.
I want to know like
Oh, go
what's
ahead.
next for you.
That's what I'm saying.
Because what you're doing now with your art and your sculptures or whatever, I imagine you like trying to do
Thank you, Kelly.
sculptures for public, like
Yeah.
like public, like you can actually skate or whatever, you know.
Yeah, no, it's definitely. I hope to do that one
Yeah.
day soon. There's been some ideas in Germany. We were talking about doing a public skatable installation, but I've been so busy I hadn't had time to make it out there to do
Yeah.
it. Talking with some of the homies from Titus out there was setting it up.
Oh,
That'd be amazing.
Yeah, but
Because you actually did one in Mexico, right?
yeah,
Something like that?
Mexico City,
Yeah.
and then I had built a couple in LA too, but they were temporary. And when the space closed, I had to destroy them. Those were like concrete, so I had to like destroy it. It was like hard to get it
Oh,
out.
wow.
Yeah. So, but yeah, you know, anything's possible. You know, like I'm just going with the flow, man, and like I don't look too far ahead, and just try to enjoy the moment that I'm in.
Yeah.
And to continue. That's all I ever ask to do is to continue on and enjoy this experience that we call life, and be who I am today in the hopes of being somebody better tomorrow, and you know, and just keep going.
Well, I know you bring a lot of joy to people's lives, man.
Fuck
You're
yeah.
super
Yes, you
positive. Your Instagram posts, you really, you break it down from the heart, man. And I love it. It's amazing.
You know, the whole social media thing's a crazy world, and you know, and we're always bombarded with all these different things, and and like I never had a platform like that in my life where I could like just speak openly to people,
right?
It was always through a magazine or through a video or something like that. And
someone
so,
else's voice, yeah.
yeah. So like, I think and for me, it's kind of therapeutic in a weird way of where I'm able to like express my thoughts and get them out. And most of them that I do share with like the words that I share are either explaining my experience that I had that day and just breaking it down, because I just like to recap kind of myself, like this is what's going on, and for people that are interested can follow and see. And then the other aspect are my actual like thoughts that are going on in my head. And I used to keep a diary and write or like a journal, and write little words down and stuff, but I'd always lose those, or I'd get a new one and there's like each one of them are only like partially filled. And so I started a Twitter account a while ago before Instagram. I was so anti-social media. I never had Facebook. I never had any of that stuff. And my friend was like, there's people out there that have fake accounts that are you and this and that. So I was like, okay, I better do them myself then. And so got a Facebook account, and then got Twitter, and then started like going, oh man, I have all these thoughts. And it was like, it's kind of just like a mobile diary. And for me, they're reminders to myself. They're not my advice to others. These are my words to myself to remind myself of what I need to do and to stay on the right path, and to experience, and just express the thoughts as well too. They're not always only reminders, but if other people can identify with them, if they could help them in any way, then that's just the icing on the cake, just an added positive. So it's really for myself, but to see the impact that it has had on other people and the response that I get and the communication I get from other people, it's like, I was like, whoa, that's like crazy. I didn't expect that. Yeah. And then there's, some people don't get it and some people don't understand.
Yeah,
and,
there's always going to be those like, people. Yeah.
This is lame or whatever it is. Like, but that's cool. It's part of life, And so I think it's fun. It's fun. And even like way later in life, like, or if I die one day, somebody could look back and go like, here's a chronological line of my thoughts and the timeline of what I was going through and what I was thinking in this time period. And I think that's pretty cool. Something cool. Or if I become old and share it with my grandkids someday or something, or kids. I guess I have to have kids before I have grandkids. Don't have any yet. Yeah.
But also too, you're putting it out there in the universe as well. Yeah. It's a lot of people hold their thoughts in, and they don't even write them down. Yeah. And here you are just putting it all out there, and what do you put out in the universe? Is you
comes
can
right back to him.
It comes right back, man.
Yeah. Energy is full circle. Energy is so real, and I've tapped into that many times in my life, and more so now than ever, and it's like what you said. It's like, like people a lot of times are like, why is my life like this? This sucks, and this and that, and this and that. And it's like, it's going to stay that way if that's the way you look at it.
Everyone else,
and we have to realize that even the worst things that happen to us in life are all part of the experience that we were made to have. Yeah. And there's a lot of people argue that and say, well, why does this happen? And why does that happen? Why does it happen? Questioning it's never going to do any good, And so for me, it's just about this acceptance. The power of acceptance will like make you glide through life so much easier. And I'm still learning every day. I'm far from perfect. I'm far from enlightened. I'm far from some guru. I never claimed to be any of this kind of stuff, But I'm getting better each day, and I'm learning more each day, and I'm becoming more at one with myself each day. And the more I'm at one with myself, the more I'm at one with others, the more I understand others, the more patience I have, the more empathy, the more understanding. And since that, life keeps getting better. These things keep happening. I have all these new shoes coming out, designing. I've got like doing these hosting gigs. I'm on the 9 Club. I'm like, not too long ago, I was in a way worse place, right? And I had a bad back injury, and my back took me away from skateboarding for a long time, and I was like pretty miserable, depressed, like heavily depressed. And I got to the point where I was just like, I kind of gave up on myself for a little while, and I was really disappeared for a while. And this is not that long ago. And I was sober, not drinking too, which was crazy that I was in that mind state sober too as well. And I was just like so down. I was just like, I can't skate. My back's jacked. I was told I can be paralyzed if I don't get the surgery, all this different stuff. And I didn't want to get the surgery. And so like, I was like so down. And then one day I just stopped and I go, what am I doing? Like, what the heck am I doing? And I said, you know what? I'm out. I left my car at home, got my skateboard, walked down the hill, went rolling. And in that moment, it's like I felt this crazy energy like come through my body. And I was like, stood up more. And I was like, oh my God, like, and I was skating down the street, and then some cars driving by, and they're like, Muska, and beeping the horn, and I'm like, what's up? Yeah. And then like, I think it was like some of the chocolate guys.
I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah. And then like I was skating down the street, and they're beeping. I did an ollie, and like, and I skated. That was the day. And I skated to Maxfield, which is a store, a fashion store, and they Scott Oster built a full pipe, a big ass full pipe there. And I just skated down to it, and nobody was there. It was kind of earlier in the morning, like 12 noonish. And I was just looking at it, and I was like, I'm gonna keep going. And then right when I was about to leave, I heard Jesse Martinez go, Muska, you know. And I look, I was like, oh shit, it's Jesse. What's up, you know? And I rolled over. He's like, you gonna skate today, right? And I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna skate, like with Jesse, and then started rolling on the full pipe and skating, and Scott Oster showed up, and Hasoy was there, and Eric Dressen, and you know, my idols of my childhood all showed up, and I was just like, okay, like this is good, and the initial start to that though was the King of the Road, which was, but it was a few months before that.
Yeah, I remember.
And I busted a frontside flip. Some God grace gave me the frontside flip, you know. But I woke up the next day in a lot of pain, and I didn't skate at all for like probably 2 or 3 months. It was before that or something.
Damn.
And but that day started it, and from that moment on, I made a conscious decision that I hurt right now. I feel it.
Oh, really?
It's in my sitting here this long, like my back. It's there. I have the slip disc in my lower back.
Wow.
It's still there, but I just chose that this injury is not going to defeat me, and I'm going to be aware of it, and I'm going to take care of my body. I'm going to stretch. I'm going to be more healthy. I'm going to retain positive thoughts, and I'm going to move forward with what I have. I'm not going to dwell on what I don't have. I'm not going to dwell on, is this injury going to stop me, while these what ifs are gone.
Yeah.
I pushed them out of my mind that day, and I just said, it's on. I'm going forward. I don't care if I just roll down the street. I don't care if I don't skate at all, but I'm not going to stay here and wait to die.
Yeah.
I'm going to get out and live life. And I go, there's plenty of people with way worse situations and conditions, even though a back is like I mean, I went from not being able to put my shoes on in the morning to no sliding some hubba ledges again. You know what I mean? So like it was a major step, you know, like, and it's something I'm still aware of and focus on each day to get through it.
Yep.
And I have bad days. I wake up some days and I still can't put my shoes on. They happen still, you know, and I have to go, okay, this is going to pass. I have to like breathe, stretch.
Yeah.
Why is this hurting? Figure it out, think about it, and power through it, you know? And so my body's not the level that I would love it to be at, but it's a lot better than where it was at. And so hopefully it'll continue to get better, and I'll continue to skate more.
Yeah.
Mentally, I'm like clearer than I ever have been. And like, I know if my body caught up to my mind, like, there's another video part.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yeah. And even if it's not another video part, I'm still like, I mean, I was skating in demos. I was in Australia skating a demo, and it's not like the craziest, but I'm out there busting frontside flips on quarter pipes, and no sliding some hubbas, and crooked grinding them, and blunt slides, and you know, and stuff. And like, so, I mean, that just makes me so happy to be able to do that, because that's my pure love and passion in life, and to do that. But regardless of all that, like, it's just the power of the mind is so strong, and the power of belief, and the only limitations that really exist in life are the ones that we place upon ourselves, you know? And certain things are physically impossible.
Sure.
You know, certain people are in a wheelchair, and they're going to be in a wheelchair the rest of their life. I'm not saying that they can will it and just get up out of that wheelchair and walk away. Yeah. But their perception of their reality can change.
Oh yeah.
And they can make the best life possible living in a wheelchair. And that's what I told myself. I go, even if I'm here and stuck, and I'm never gonna be able to walk again, or whatever it is that this back is doing to me, I'm gonna accept it and I'm gonna move forward. And in that acceptance came healing. And it's a small miracle, to be honest with you. Like,
amazing.
And
That's amazing.
And it's a day-to-day thing that I'm grateful for, and I'm not gonna fuck this up.
Yeah. Well, thinking is such a very
Excuse
powerful.
my language.
Thinking is a very powerful thing, thinking, and the more you think, you dwell on something, and you dwell, and like you said, like you got into this like bad place, you took your board out, you went for a roll, and that one fucking roll down the street just changed your whole shit.
Yep.
It's amazing.
Yep. Skateboarding has saved my life more than one time.
What kind of surgery? How come you don't want to get surgery?
I mean, I had knee surgery for torn ACL, medial meniscus, lateral meniscus, and some other meniscus, I think. One of those.
Okay.
Some ACL.
Yeah.
Too. ACL, lateral, and medial.
MCL.
Yeah, all of them. DSL. So it didn't come back all the way 100%.
Okay.
And I've heard things with back surgery too. Like I've heard positive things, but I've heard negative things too. And then my friend Daryl, this BMX rider, I just met in Brooklyn when I was out there. And a couple other people told me about this guy. It's Dr. Sarno.
Yeah.
And he cured Howard Stern.
Yeah, he's got a book.
Hang on a little bit, Howard Stern, a little bit.
Yeah, he talks about him all the time. His book is like incredible.
Daryl, he's a pro BMX rider. He does a lot of hosting now.
Oh, cool.
With Chris Postris and stuff too. But I ran into him randomly on Brooklyn, and he was like, "I've been wanting to see you," and he's told me about it. And so I still haven't downloaded it, but I've been meaning to do it. But I feel like what he preaches, I found that answer for myself in a weird way, because what everybody's told me, they're like, "Oh, you must have studied Sarno. You must have studied Sarno." And I'm like, "Who is this?" And I Googled it and I watched it. And I was like, "Whoa, that's." What he's saying in this video is exactly what I've told myself and what I was already thinking. But I do want to listen to his book.
Yeah, you should.
Or read it, or listen to the audiobook, one or the other, and see what points he makes. But I feel like I tapped into whatever he had tapped into somehow, and it's got me going so far.
But even if you feel like you've tapped in, and reading or listening to his book will also kind of reaffirm what you're already thinking.
100%, man.
Dr.
I just
Sonos.
know, I just know I'm not done with life. And like I said before, I feel like I'm just beginning. I have so much more to offer this world.
I know.
And I'm ready to do it. I'm gung-ho, feel better than ever. And, it's on.
I love it, man. Listen, bro.
Watch out, world.
I know. Bro.
Yeah, guys.
Muska.
Dude.
Yeah.
Bro. You're the man, dude. Thank you so much, dude, for coming.
No pound, yeah.
Right. Listen, bro.
Okay, here we got some gear.
I got some goodies for you, man. He's taking off the backpack. He's going to put all this shit in there. We got some stickers for you, first and foremost. Some 9 Club stickers. He's opening the bag. He's putting the stickers in there.
The 9 Club.
9 Club.
Hey, I wanted to ask.
Go ahead.
Does the 9 Club have anything to do with the 9 Club in the Street League?
No.
They copied us.
He did.
Yeah, they copied us. Dude, here's a long sleeve double X.
Yeah, double X.
Double X.
I like
man.
it baggy, man. I'm thinking.
I know.
We take the 90s Club.
The 90s Club. Bro, here's a burning mug for you. That's me, Roger, and Kelly there, made by one of our fans.
Sam
Pearson.
Sam Pearson. Thank you.
Yeah, Sam.
Yep. Gonna have his morning coffee with that.
There's some of these we do have double X and the hoodies and stuff.
Oh, okay.
I wasn't sure we could.
We'll take you back in the warehouse after the show. You know what I'm saying? Pick out whatever you want, Here's a XL embroidered crew neck.
Nice.
For you.
Yeah, the crew necks are probably good XL.
Yeah. Here's a 9 Club New Era hat.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like I said. Boom. Look at that. Looks great on you, bro.
There you go.
Looks great on you. Like I said, we're going to put... Oh, he's attaching that to his bag. That's a good... I like that technique, man.
Yeah.
That's a good technique. Here's an XL hoodie.
I brought the bag.
9 Club hoodie for you. Look at that, bro.
Yeah.
And of
They have
course...
this one in double XL?
We do.
Ooh, I'm going to take this one in double X.
Yep.
Do we have that one in double X?
Yeah.
Yep.
We do.
So I'll hold this one out until the next.
Okay. I had to give you the Switch Flip Manny shirt, bro.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Switch Flip Manny
Look at that. Look at
shirt.
We didn't have
Yeah.
double XL in those though.
Sold out.
Yeah.
All good.
It's all right, man.
XL is fine.
That's one to wall right there.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I'm gonna put. Can you sign it?
Of course. I got a silver Sharpie just for the shirt.
Let's do it.
You're not going to make... Are you really?
Yeah.
You want me to...
Yeah.
Look at this. Chad Muska's was a...
Go grab the
Where's
Wow.
it? Where is it over
right
here?
there in the mug.
Kelly, we grab the... Or here, I'll grab it.
No, I got it here. Or it's gonna go right.
Did you ever think you'd be giving Muska your autograph?
No. It's
Yeah.
amazing. It's amazing, bro. Look at this, huh? Chad. I don't know what you're going to do with this, but...
I'm gonna wear it.
Are you?
This is a weird moment right now.
Signing Muska's shirt. I'm going to do his copyright. Copyright to 2000. Uh-oh. I already fucked it up, man.
No, you
Get
did.
him
There's no
another
such
shirt.
thing. Just turn it into art. Scratch it
Yeah.
off like Basquiat.
It almost says 2029.
That'll be the next time I come on the show.
As long as you come back, I'm cool with that.
There you go, man. Look at that. 2000 Chris Roberts, 2029. Huh?
Always thinking ahead, you know?
Future's
I
bright.
like it. I like it.
Dude, Chad, again,
Yeah,
thank you
it's
so
official.
much, bro.
Thank
You're
you-
the
thank
man,
you so much.
bro. You are the man. Can't
All
wait
right.
to see you. Come back anytime. Like I said, bro, if you're in the area, come back,
Please.
hang out with
Just
us.
tell me when Bam's gonna be here, and I'll be here.
Yeah.
Sure.
It was
That's
good.
that's a whole nother story.
It's a whole other show.
Yep.
Yeah,
Whole
you
nother
know.
story.
Yeah. And also, too, the shoes, November,
Don't let me forget those. Yeah.
November,
yeah.
and the other ones in December.
Yeah.
Can't wait.
What's the story with this, by the way?
Oh yeah.
Oh, he's a little...
That's an old school crew chain, just from the back in the day. He said to bring some.
Oh,
some-
it actually is crew. Yeah.
Yeah.
that's sick.
You guys want it for the
Little boom box. Oh, we can't take your chain,
Yeah,
bro.
okay. If you want it, you can have.
Really? Dude, we'll take that.
Should wear it, Chris.
I'll wear it
wow.
like Flavor Flav.
Put it on.
That's hard.
Flavor Flav. Mine's got 2 clocks.
Wow.
What time is it, Chris?
It's almost midnight.
Depends on which one you're looking at.
Yeah, no. Yeah,
Yeah.
New York time, LA time.
Yeah, that was the idea.
That was the idea?
Yeah, yeah.
See? I don't want this to end, Chad. I want to keep going, bro.
like all good things and must come to an end.
I know.
Got to get back to the dogs, man.
That's true.
Yeah,
Oh, my
yeah,
God,
yeah.
the puppy pads.
I'd keep going and going and going, but
Listen.
it's not even about the bathroom. It's just about I care about them. I can't keep them at home alone.
No,
so,
no, no. For
yeah.
sure, for sure.
They're gonna snap. Like when I show up, they're gonna be like Maggie, especially when she's like arr, arr, arr. They'll be like running around in circles and like she'll run up and like smack me. She'll be like smack, smack. smack.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and then Max, the OG, the oldest one, he's like he'll just start screaming. He'll just be like, like
He really like makes that
like,
noise.
I'll try to film it. Maybe I'll film it and send it to you
Oh,
guys.
Do it.
please
That'd be
do.
funny.
Bro, thank
Yeah,
you
yes.
for everything you've done and you're going to continue to do.
Much love. Yeah,
Man.
it's an honor to be here. We finally did it. Hope everybody likes it. Keep listening. More to come soon.
There you go.
This is just the intro episode.
The intro.
Yeah.
That's what I like.
The Muska Experience episode is coming soon.